Good afternoon, everyone. I am Chetna Sinket from WWF India, and with me is Shrishti Singh from CEE. We will be your host and those for the day. It gives us immense pleasure to welcome you all to the National Youth Summit for the Tide Turner Challenge.
Hello, everyone. Happy to be here with you all today. By the way, Chetna, did you know that the Tide Turner Challenge has engaged youth from over 23 countries?
Wow, 23 countries?
Yes, the Tide Turner Plastic Challenge is a global UNEP campaign being implemented in India by different partners: Center for Environment Education, Worldwide Fund for Nature, and the Million. The challenge consisted of three levels: the entry, leader, and champion level, combined with a range of activities for the youth to learn, act, and lead. All these young plastic warriors All the young plastic warriors have inspired us with their commitment and actions to address the use of single-use plastics and its impact on the planet.
That's definitely not an easy challenge. And I'm very proud to say that more than 120,000 young plastic warriors from 28 states, 8 union territories have joined us in this nationwide campaign. We engaged with 40 plus partners, 3,000 educational institutions, and conducted more than 75 interactive online training sessions. Also, a special recognition to Bharat Scouts and Guides for their constant support and participation. I am extremely pleased to announce that we have with us today the champions who successfully completed all the challenges and took the lead in turning the tide for the single-use plastic. And one such champion is Karnav Rastogi from Mumbai. He will be reciting his beautiful composition today with us on plastic and its challenges.
Greetings everyone. Plastic occurs. Plastic bags, bottles or glass, used by people of every class. Plastic stays and lasts forever. Decompose or degrade never. Contains chemicals bad for health, causing ailments, rob your wealth. Animals eat it as their food, affecting life of bird and brood. A large chunk of 90% portion plastic is found in sea and ocean. Pollution and problem are so drastic. Call a ban on non-cyclable plastic. Use materials which degrade, which should slowly go and fade. Stop, think, and take a pause. Urge everyone to support the cause. Join Tide Turner Challenge of Plastic. Learn to say a big no to single-use plastic. First, know your carbon footprint. Check the issues at every sprint. Let the thought of plastic swirl. Then be a leader to guide the world. Finally, be a champion of change. The 3 R's should definitely reign. Be a single-use plastic spurner. Proud to say that I am a Tide Turner. Thank you.
Wow, Karnav, that definitely gave me some goosebumps. Thank you for your poem. It was definitely very, very inspiring. Thank you. To celebrate the achievements of many more young champions like Karnav, we have been joined by some very well-known dignitaries from across the globe. So what's the agenda for the day, Srishti?
Chetna, we are going to have a very interesting day today. And let me quickly share how it will look like with everyone. We will be starting with an address by UNEP India. followed by addresses from UNEP headquarters, British High Commission, and Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Next, we will be hearing from our implementing partners about their journeys. And it would be followed by an inspiring talk for which we are all waiting for by Dr. Jane Goodall and a musical performance by Ricky Cage. Later in the half, we would be hearing from the real life ambassadors, Ms. Dia Mirza and Sonika Manandhar, followed by a conversation with the Tide Turner champions. Thereafter, we would be recognizing our partners and the Tide Turner Champions 2020, along with a congratulatory message from the UNEP. Not to forget, at the end, we have a very fun-filled session on cartooning by the Green Humour creator himself, Rohan Chakravarty. So let's all gear up for the day and begin.
That's definitely a very exciting day ahead. To formally welcome the National Youth Summit and begin it, may I please welcome Mr. Atul Bagai to take our virtual stage for the welcome address. Mr. Bagai is the country head of UNEP India. He has been instrumental in the Ozone Action Plan and many more green procurement policies. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. And I would like to, on behalf of UNEP, welcome everyone. After that very inspiring poem by our youth leader, I am not sure how to proceed and try to match that inspiring poem. But I would like to first recognize that this summit signifies how important the youth and this next generation is for the cause of environment. I would like to specially welcome from UNEP side, on behalf of UNEP, Ravi Agarwal ji, the Additional Secretary in the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, who has really been an inspiration for not only the TTC program, but most of our youth programs in which UNEP has been involved in. Without his support, we would not have been able to move forward and reach the levels which you all see in this summit today. I would also like to welcome Natali Tom, the Economic Counselor from the British High Commission, who's been representing the organization and the country that funds this whole innovative initiative of UNEP and its partners. I welcome my colleague Sam Barrett, who's the man behind the program in UNEP globally, who's joining us from Nairobi. I especially would like to welcome my icon and inspiration, Jane Goodall, who all of you know and who actually inspires the whole world to go green and to take up environmental deeds. We are very, very honored to have her here with us. I would like to also welcome our UNEP Goodwill Ambassador, Dia Mirza, who's been championing the cause of environment even before she joined UNEP as a Goodwill Ambassador. And she's certainly been an inspiration for all of us. I especially welcome Sonika also, who's the UN Earth Champion for 2019. Ricky Cage, the environmental musician and a Grammy Award winner who's been collaborating with us since the World Environment Day. Rohan Chakravarty, the conservation artist and the cartoonist, certainly with such an inspiring group of people who are represented here, we are really grateful to each and every one of them. But I would also like to specially thank the Tide Turner Youth, the Bharat Scouts and Guides, the youth associations, and also the youth from outside India. I understand there are many people, many youth who have joined us today from outside India, which also shows how amazing this program is being accepted globally. I will be amiss if I do not particularly recognize Radhika and Kartike, our two partners representing WWF and CEE, and also the Million Sparks Foundation that is working with us on this program for the last year and a half. As I said initially, that without MOEFCC support, TTC, the Tie Turner contest program would have not reached the heights it has. And I'm very happy to inform that with Raviji's inspiration and support, we are beginning to implement it also with the eco clubs. And as a pilot, we are going to start work in Gujarat and Himachal Pradesh very soon. Also, with his help, we've been able to access the Diksha platform of the Ministry of Human Resource Development, which is really an awe-inspiring achievement, which we've been able to fulfill as a result of Raviji's efforts. And we are hoping that the Earth School, which we have on Diksha, and the Tie Turners contest could be two initiatives which we could take over in Diksha platform. Finally, I would like to congratulate all the Tie Turner Plastic Challenge participants. Special congratulations to all of the 1700 plus champions who have managed to cross all the levels of the challenge. And you should remember that your journey to protect the environment has only just begun. And if you keep up the momentum, who knows, you would become the champions of the earth and also be the environmental guards for the next generation. Thanks a lot, and I welcome all of you for this unique program. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bagai, for such a warm welcome. We are all inspired and we are going to take on this journey. So going next, we have with us Mr. Sam Bharat, Head of Education and Training, UNEP. Mr. Bharat oversees the Playing for the Planet Alliance and also manages the Tie Turners Plastic Badge. He also leads the Youth and Education Alliance, which is a network of almost 800 universities from around the world. Over to you, Mr. Bharat.
Thanks, Shrishti. First of all, I just wanted to say that I'm blown away by what India has managed to achieve with this program. I think the leadership that we've seen from the young people across the country just blows my mind. I mean, I never thought 18 months on, having met with Radhika and Neha and Kartikeya and all the team in Delhi, we'd be sat here today with a chat of 1,800 people talking through the impact of Tie Turners. This has surpassed my imagination. And I just wanted to say that I see Tie Turners as a leadership program on plastics rather than a plastics program with leadership. Because for us, the way that we change the world is with our hearts and how we connect to people, whether it's with poetry or with our ambition. And also that message to us that we are good enough and our voice matters and we can be the change that we want to see in the world. And I think if India steps forward into this leadership role with its youth, then the rest of the world will follow. And so I just wanted just to give significant appreciation to, first of all, the young people, because we wanted to get something that would inspire you. And it looks like it has, which is great. Second of all, I wanted to give appreciation to the partners, because what WWF, CEE, Million Sparks, the Bharat Scouts, and everyone has done is to open up the kind of the different states of India to engage in this program. And what's even more beautiful to see is now the support from Mr. Ravi Agrawal from the Indian government to kind of push this through the eco schools. But also with the Scouts, they've committed to move the Tie Turners program into a new project they have called Earth Tribe, which will be for their 50 million young people around the world. So Tie Turners is now a sustainable initiative that is hardwired into the Scouts curriculum, which is fantastic. But I just had a few other words just to say, which is around, I feel like for me, this badge, which is made from recycled plastic, which I think if I hold it here, you can see. For me, this little round circle has 3 different stars on it for different levels of leadership. But I think you're all leaders for doing this, and you're all champions for getting involved in this. And I would say what we've done with Tie Turners in 18 months is to make a huge impact by getting this started. But I think what comes next really is what excites me the most. And with the support of the UK government, and it's fantastic to see that we have representatives on the call. Natalie, it's great to have you here as well. I was talking to DEFRA yesterday in the UK, in London, about further support. But I feel like everybody on this call is a champion. We want to do more on this work. And what you do next with this, in terms of increasing the impact, increasing the spread, asking more friends to get involved, bringing it to your schools when they reopen, asking your mum and dad about what they can do. I've got children. Children are the most influential thing in my life. They tell me what I can wear, what I shouldn't wear, what to do, what not to do, how to work with them, how not to work with them. So I think that your voice, I know, is probably the most influential thing I have in my life. So child 1 and 2 are 11 and 14. So you do not know how influential you are. So I would just say, embrace your power, show us what you can do, and let's all be tide turners and see how we can take this message of this badge out into the world. And I just wanted to say thank you for this opportunity to address you. I think it's a real honor to do this. And I'm going to look forward to listening over the course of the next couple of hours to seeing what else is coming through in this program. And just my final word is just go for it. Let's live our life to the full. We only live life once, and let's have as much impact as we can. There's some words from me. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Bharat, and congratulations for the successful implementation of the Tide Turners Plastic Talent globally. Before we begin further, I would request our participants to not write comments on the Q&A section. That is only for the question or answers for the session. So please use it for that. Or else it will be difficult for us to find the right questions to ask to our different session leaders. Thank you. Now, we have a very special guest from the British High Commission, Ms. Natalie Toms. She is the Economic Counselor of the British High Commission. Please welcome Ms. Toms. Over to you.
Hello, it's fantastic to be here with you today. Thank you all very much for inviting me. Wonderful to not only be with colleagues from UNEP and the Ministry of the Environment, but here with so many young people who are committed to tackling marine pollution. Also, like all of you, really looking forward to hearing from Jane Goodall later, long a hero of mine. So the UK and India are both two countries which are committed to climate action and to tackling plastic pollution in the oceans, making us natural partners on this subject. Globally, I'm sure many of you will know that it's thought that 12 million tons of plastic waste enter the ocean each year due to mismanaged waste. And if we continue as we are, scientists predict a threefold increase by 2025. So it's important that we take swift and decisive action. And the Tide Turner Plastics Challenge Badge is one such action. We're proud to have worked with young people in Ghana, Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania in the first phase of the project. But as Sam has said, particularly proud to be working with India over the last year, working with all of you, but in partnership with WWF, CEE, and the Million Sparks Foundation. It's wonderful that I think 180,000 young people have got involved, not only reducing plastic waste in their own lives, but becoming leaders within your communities to make sure that as many people as possible join this global fight. So it's been a fantastic achievement. Thank you to our partners, but most of all to all of you. It was also particularly wonderful that Prime Minister Modi was able to meet with some of the Tide Turners last October on the 150th anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi's birth, and that the Tide Turners, that you briefed the Prime Minister on the badge, just absolutely brilliant. So I should say, in addition to working with Tide Turners, the UK is involved in a number of projects to tackle plastics pollution around the world, including working through the Commonwealth Clean Oceans Alliance. We've also committed £500 million into the new Blue Planet Fund, which we hope will protect marine resources from threats like climate change, overfishing, and plastic pollution. And we've called for protecting 30% of the global ocean by 2030. During his time as Foreign Secretary, our Prime Minister Boris Johnson also made sure that this action on plastics began at home. He banned all use of avoidable single-use plastics in the Foreign and Commonwealth Office's UK operations, saying, if we want to turn the tide overseas, it's only right that the Foreign Office leads the way at home. And here in India, plastics awareness features particularly in our British Council schools work, with young learners taking part in initiatives that cover recycling, global warming and climate adaptation. Of course, next year is going to be a particularly critical year for nature, with both the biodiversity COP and the UK hosted COP26 UN Climate Change Conference. We believe fervently that COP26 can be a moment when the world unites behind a fairer, greener recovery that delivers for people and for planet. And India is such an important partner in this work, with the incredible progress that has been made here on things like cheaper renewable energy at pace and scale. And we're really looking forward to working closely with India in advantage of COP26 to increase climate action, build resilience and reduce emissions. The impact of COVID-19 has provided a stark reminder of what happens when our relationship with nature breaks down. So as we start to rebuild our economy, we really owe it to future generations to build back better and to rebuild our relationship with nature to ensure a green recovery from COVID-19. I think I'll finish now, but I'll end with another quote from our Prime Minister Boris Johnson when he launched COP26 earlier this year. He said, let's make this year the moment when we come together with the courage and technological ambition to solve man-made climate change and to choose a cleaner and greener future for all of our children and grandchildren. So thank you very much, all of you, for all of your everything that you're doing to deliver this greener future.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ms. Toms, for joining us. It was great to have you here and know about the different initiatives of the British High Commission. Thank you again. Now we would like to welcome Mr. Ravi Agrawal, Additional Secretary, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Government of India, to deliver the special address. Welcome to the summit, sir.
Good afternoon, dear panelists and about 1,800 participants who are part of this interaction, leading environment champions, students, young leaders, ladies and gentlemen. Let me first of all thank UNEP for being making me part of this interaction, and let me also compliment them for taking the lead in flagging the issue of fighting plastic pollution and from bringing us together on the issue in these trying times that all of us are facing. Tide Turner initiative involving more than about 130,000 people and having its footprints in 23 countries is well so encouraging. I'd also like to congratulate Tide Turner champions on this occasion. Well, as has already been said, the Tide Turner Plastic Challenge is a global youth movement to fight plastic pollution around the world, and it's designed to inspire young adults to reflect upon their plastic consumption, discover solutions to reduce this consumption, and to lead change in their homes, communities, institutions, and offices. In India, we have announced that we shall be working towards phasing out single-use plastic by 2022. But then the question is, how do we make the difference? Can we make the difference? And whether it's all in our hands. So these are the questions which individual just asked, that what is my role in it? I was reflecting upon these questions, and the recent COVID crisis provides some answers to these questions. We see that people can individually and collectively really make a difference. I see within a matter of 2 months, we are all wearing masks, and that has become a new normal. In February or March 2020, if we would have moved in public places with a mask, it would have caught attention. But in May 2020, if a person moves at any place without mask, it catches attention. So there is a new normal. Then in December, January, we knew that COVID was creating havoc in one country. and it was only a news for us. We could sympathize, and at the most we were actually engaging with some academic discussions. Never in our dreams did we imagine that within 2 months we would be grappling with the situation. However, once we were saddled with the situation, we responded. And today, if I may say, more than 95% of the world population is aware about the importance of wearing masks, and not less than 75% are actually wearing it. In India, these percentages could be a lot more. So what is the difference? The difference is that when we were saddled with this situation, we created a new normal and we responded. Right? The lessons that we could consider in the light of the pandemic is that nature gives us signals. And these hints were available in December or January this year. It is yet another matter that we did not give importance to this, as we could not identify ourselves with the issue. It just remained as a talking point so long as we were not directly involved. In the case of COVID, if it was in other country or in other state or in other district or in other locality, we felt that it would not happen to us. And then some prominent people got infected, and that busted that myth also. So at each step, we progressively identified with the issue, and our concerns grew bigger. Our mitigation strategy at individual and family level and community level became more pragmatic and effective. Why was that? Because it convinced us that if we do not take steps, we would be impacted. So similar is the case with plastics. Today, nature is giving us signals. If we do not respond now, it shall force us to respond. Therefore, it is only a matter of few years if we do not respond. Today, we may appear to have a choice, but tomorrow it would be none. So therefore, effectively, we have no choice. And therefore, in this light, this initiative has a lot of value. It has a lot of importance. It also gives this pandemic and the way we have dealt with it, it also gives us some sort of a confidence that when humans are saddled with situations, we individually and collectively respond. Just like within a few days, we accepted the new normal of wearing masks, social distancing, health handshakes, they were substituted with namaste and so on. And therefore, let's ask a question. Can we do it in the case of plastics? It is only a question of creating a new normal. I was going through one information on the website of Tide Turner itself, where it says that each individual consumes close to 11 kgs of plastic annually. Well, here lies some action on individuals' part. Leave aside work relating to community of clearing plastic filth around, holding special campaigns and all. Charity begins at home. Can we do two things? Can we reduce this 11 kgs per person per annum by say half in first go? So with this, with the family of 4, this implies saving about 20 kgs in a year per family. And if, let's say, if there are about 130,000 people in Tide Turner community who have actually participated and involved themselves, it translates into huge quantity of plastics. And the other half is that whatever plastic we are using at homes, can we actually dispose of plastic as per prescribed protocols? This takes care of another huge quantity of plastics. So therefore, we as volunteers and participants have to actually sit back and think about as to what should be our strategy at the personal level and also at the community level. And students, children, they have a special role in the family. They have the most persuasive power in the family. Be it father or mother, if a child actually prompts his or her parents to actually do some sort of good from the nature's perspective, parents are bound to follow. So therefore, you are the arms and ambassadors who can actually create a huge difference when it comes to these efforts. MOFCC is committed to provide strong support for this initiative, and we are sensitizing all the eco clubs established in the country for this cause. We plan to sensitize all school children in the country by leveraging on e-platforms, and this could involve about 10 crore students, 50 lakh teachers, and therefore corresponding families. And if we are able to sensitize them and catch them young, then in future they would have, you see, we would have created a new set of people who would just be convinced about the importance of the issue. We could also, in this initiative, take inspiration from Swachh Bharat Mission that has practiced behavioral economic strategy of Richard Thaler, 2017 Nobel Prize winning economist, and in particular the art of nudging, which is how small interventions can help individuals and communities to change their behavior. Well, in the Swachh Bharat Mission, rural communities in India have been nudged to change their habit of open defecation by using household toilets, thus creating a new normal. So it's a question of creating a new normal. When the government analyzed as to what was the reason and factors which helped in making this Swachh Bharat Mission a huge success, there were 6 guiding principles. And I would just like to mention those 6 principles which we could adopt here. The first is align. So different people at different positions, they have competing priorities. A goal congruence has to be achieved across the ecosystem. So if you are able to achieve that and align the people towards this cause, that would help in creating this normal. And COVID crisis has actually demonstrated that. The second is believe. Often when we are faced with seemingly unsurmountable goal, teams that don't genuinely believe that the goal can be achieved find themselves not motivated enough, and hence they don't try hard enough and do not achieve results. So therefore, the important thing is creating the team, building a team of people who believe that the goal is achievable. And the fact that we are being able to connect with 130,000 people across 23 countries means that this initiative has the capacity and the potential to create these teams and to make them believe in the concept. So there lies the success. C, communicate and convince oneself, because unless until that one is convinced that this issue is relevant and good for me, I will not have that conviction that it should be done. And once I have that conviction, I have created a new normal. Then D, democratize. That is mass participation that encourages new ideas and approaches, because it's a huge voluminous work, mammoth task, and if we have to do it and have visibility, then new ideas have to be encouraged, new approaches have to be adopted. Only then it can be a mass sort of a movement. Then E is evaluate. That periodically we have to encourage third-party monitoring of progress and evaluate outputs, outcomes, impacts. And F is let's make it simple, practical, and sustainable. So these are the A, B, C, D, E, and F of the Swachh Bharat Mission, and these are the guiding principles. We could consider adopting these also to take the initiative forward. I feel that this is a great time, and this is a very opportune time for us to take this initiative forward, because people are already sensitized to changing habits in view of the pandemic. Shops and business establishments, they are doing re-engineering of their systems. Families are taking steps to lead a healthy life. They're all receptive to new ideas. It is only now a time that we could actually touch base with them and provide necessary leadership, and students, young professionals and young adults, young leaders can actually help achieve this. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Agarwal, for joining us today and inspiring the youth of India. It's only when the government and the people collectively come together that we can create a big and a positive change in the environment. Thank you, sir, for your words. Shrishti, I have a very burning question from you. How was Titan challenge even possible in these challenging times when we are all bound to the houses?
Chetna, that's indeed a great question. And I must say, it has been an amazing journey for all of us, working with the youth virtually and exploring all the digital platforms which we could. To share that in detail, I would like to invite now all our implementing partners for India. We had a wonderful journey from the pilot phase last year with WWF India and CEE working together to bring the challenge to this level. This year, a digital version of the challenge in partnership with Million Spark Foundation was launched. To throw some light on this digital journey, I would like to invite all the three partners, Sri Kartike Sarabhai, founder and director, CEE, Dr. Abhinav Mathur, founder, Million Sparks Foundation, and Ms. Radhika Suri, director, Education, WWF India. Welcome, everyone. Sir, kindly switch off you only unmute yourself and then you can, yes, sir.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here and hear the inspiring words. I think Sri Ravi Agarwal ji from MOEF has really put great confidence in this whole thing when he said that if people and communities and individuals work together, we can make that difference. And citing these examples of masks and social distancing and how India could change the new normal in that sort of time. It was not long ago that we discussed with Mr. Sam Barrett and Atul Bagai and others to put this together. And again, as Mr. Agarwalji said, building a team is critical. So it all started by putting a team together initially with UNEP, CEE and WWF, and in the next phase with Million Sparks and of course Bharat Scouts and several others being there. You rightly said how the challenge changed with COVID, but let's remember that in the first phase, we also involved 50,000 young young youth into this with our partners. We did online orientation. We worked together with these people, engaged youth, made new partnerships, and really built the foundation on which we hope to embark on the second phase. But there we had the COVID crisis. And suddenly there was a question of how do we work, how do we move forward? We took it on, I must say all the partners took it on as a challenge and reoriented it. We had first also looked at the questions. We realized, and again, as Agarwalji mentioned, how much an individual can do even in their home environment. Besides the community, besides the neighborhood, just what a difference these 120,000 people and many more will be able to do. We had Million Sparks joined us as a new partner. The toolkit was evolving. We had in the first phase itself, we had Indianized it. We further changed some questions, learning from that phase. We started doing online webinars, reaching out to people in several languages. The webinars was something new for many of us, but we found how successful and how engaging these really could be once we started. We used social media extensively and really reached out to people in ways which a few months ago seemed very, very difficult. So finally connecting with young people and young people themselves brought their own ideas, their own ways of connecting. They themselves started doing further webinars. They started reaching out to people again through the net. And as a result, what we have done is converted what was a difficulty into a great opportunity. And I think with this and with working almost seamlessly with all the partners, and I think looking forward to working even more closely with MOEF and CC and with the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan and others, I think we can really change what the new normal is in use plastic. Thank you very much.
Hello. Um, from Million Sparks Foundation, we were the technical partners to actually launch the tide turners in a much bigger platform, and we are very thankful for the guidance that we received from WWF, CEE, from the previous experience, and especially from the UNEP team as well. And I think the whole essence of tide turners has been summarized by Sam in the statement that he made, where he mentioned that children are the greatest influencers and teachers. And we at Million Sparks, and I believe as a team, all of us truly believe that if we are able to explain to every single child what their role, what their family's role, and what their community's role is in solving each of the sustainable development goals, and especially the life underwater, what tide turners is focused upon, I believe that we will be able to solve, achieve, and make every single sustainable goal actually a sustainable, actually make it sustainable. And the experience has been exceptional. I think there were several challenges which have come together during this particular course of the past 6-7 months that we have run this challenge. And each of these challenges that I believe as a team, like Mr. Ravi mentioned, we came together as a team, we looked at the challenge and we solved them for it. But the most important, and I believe the most heartening thing to see, is the 127,000 youth which have come together, and the statement that Raviji is making, that we will try to make it bigger, we will involve all eco clubs, we will get more and more students on it, because I don't think this is the end. This is in fact the start, and each one of you, each one of the champions which have done some exceptional work during this time, they need to come and continue this work, and we will continue to support the work through whatever means, through whatever support that we can give in terms of content, in terms of tools, etc. And and in the last, I would like to actually thank Gayatri, Radhika, and Kartikeya for the support and the belief that they have shown in the work that we did, and we continue to iterate and deliver what was required as the time changed, as Corona came in. And we extended the the dates for this particular challenge so that we can have more and more people. And I'm very excited seeing some of the question answers and the chat, which is saying, when does the next version, when does the next phase of the challenge start? Can we still work and can we still complete the challenge we have? We could not complete it because of certain other priorities which came. Can we do it now? I think that is most heartwarming, and we would like to sort of extend this even further. Thank you each of the participants, and I look forward to great inputs from Jane Goodall and from Dia Mirza as we go along in the afternoon. And thank you so much.
Thank you, fellow partners, and I am the last partner to speak with you. And I just today, like Sam said right in the beginning, it just started in January as a conversation. And these 18 months have been absolutely magical. And that's one thing, that it has been so fast paced, and it's been such a beautiful collaboration that's happened. And the other thing that comes to my mind in these 18 months is Kartikeya sitting in front of me in my office and saying, hey, Radhika, we make good partners. We work easily. So I don't know, they don't feel like partners anymore. We feel like one tide turner team. Gayatri, Abhinav, Kartikeya, all of us work together for a common cause. So today, I just feel a sense of achievement on behalf of our partners. It's not easy, to collaborate. Let me tell you that we tend to work in silos with our organization mandates, and what the world today needs is collaboration. And in these 18 months, what has happened is we become one Tide Turner team. So that's the beauty of what has happened in these 18 months. When COVID happened, we were on to our next phase, as Karthikeya said. And but as a team, we didn't look nervous. We just had a meeting. We innovated, we collaborated, and we were so resilient. And what we did is we took this huge digital jump. And the interesting part is that as we innovated, we suddenly, were in different parts of the country, in small pockets, but we suddenly, reached the whole country. We reached in so many languages. We have WWFCE that has presence across the country. We were in so many languages. We were doing webinars in Malayalam and Assamese. It was so interesting. So that's something I think so that really, gives me a sense of hope, a message of hope, that organizations who have a common, vision can come together to solve such a big problem. So that's my little bit. And the other thing I just wanted to mention that WWF is a science organization, and we publish a report. It's called the Living Planet Report, and 2018 report said that 90% of seabirds have got plastic in their bellies, right? And it says you can solve problems. The report also says you can bend this curve, you can make a change, and Tide Turner is this hope for me. Tide Turner came to India. Organization years have embraced it as their own, and this is a sea of change which has started. So yesterday, in fact, we had even Maharashtra, Times come on board and carry this message. So there's been so much of people just coming together to collaborate, and I just feel as an implementation partner, I don't think like Tide Turner is ours. I think so, and we've all become one big team. So it's been a great journey, and let's move on to hear the next wonderful speaker. Thank you.
Now that was some really behind the scene actions. Thank you, Shri Sarabhai, Miss Suri, and Dr. Mathur. The moment we have all been waiting for has finally arrived. I'm highly honored to welcome our next guest, a global icon and an inspiration to millions of youth across the globe. She, at a young age of 26, changed the way the world views chimpanzees. Her journey personally inspired me to move into the field of conservation. Till date, she continuously travels around the world to support research, conservation, community involvement programs, and education, urging each one of us to take action on the behalf of all the species and the planet we all share. Her Roots and Shoots program empowers children and youth from nearly 100 countries. May I please welcome Dr. Jane Goodall, a living legend in the field of conservation. We are indeed blessed to have you here with us. Like me, all our viewers are ecstatic to hear from you. Also, before we begin, I request my viewers, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to write them in the Q&A box. If the time permits, we will have a quick discussion. Everybody, please welcome with me Dr. Jane Goodall. Over to you, Dr. Goodall. It's an honor for me and a dream come true to welcome you. Thank you.
Right. Can you see me?
Yes, we can hear you and we can see you clearly.
Okay. Well, first of all, good morning to everybody. And let me start off by bringing a different kind of voice to this virtual gathering. And I think we need to bring in the voice as a representative of the animal kingdom. And so a distance greeting, the greeting call of the chimpanzee, and that simply means, this is me, this is Jane. So let me go back to the beginning for a moment. And I was born loving animals, just born that way. And I had an amazingly supportive mother. She didn't get angry when she came up to my room. I was 1.5 years old, and I'd taken a whole handful of wriggly earthworms into my bed. And she said, I think you were wondering how they walked without legs. So she just quietly said, we better take them back to the garden. They need the earth. And then when I was 4.5 years old, she took me for a holiday onto a farm. And one afternoon, I disappeared. So everybody was looking for me. Nobody knew where I was. Well, for 4 hours, I had been hiding in a hen house because nobody would tell me where the hole was on the hen big enough for the egg to come out. So one of my earliest memories was seeing a hen laying an egg. It was my first real exercise in observing animals. When I was growing up, TV hadn't been invented. There was no TV, and World War II was raging. I learned from books and from listening to other people. And so I don't know in India if you have Dr. Dolittle. I think maybe you do, but I'm sure you all know about Tarzan. So I had saved up enough money. We had very little money to buy this little book, and it was called Tarzan of the Apes. And I took it home. It was secondhand. And of course, I fell in love with this glorious Lord of the Jungle. And I was really jealous because he married the wrong Jane. But anyway, that began my dream. I will grow up, go to Africa, live with wild animals, and write books about them. I never thought of being a scientist because girls didn't do that sort of thing back then. And everybody laughed at me. How will you do that? You don't have money. Africa's far away, and you're just a girl. But not my mother. What she said to me was, Jane, if you really want to do something like this, you're going to have to work really hard, take advantage of every opportunity. And then if you don't give up, maybe you find a way. Well, I think many of you listening know that I did get to Africa. We didn't have money for university. I did a boring old secretarial training and then was invited to Africa by a school friend. So I saved up money by working as a waitress and finally got to Africa. And it was very, very exciting. And it was while I was staying with my friend that I heard about someone called Dr. Louis Leakey. He spent his life searching for the early fossilized remains of Stone Age humans in Africa. And somebody said to me, Jane, if you're interested in animals, you should meet Louis. So I went to the Natural History Museum. He was curator. And I think he was impressed because although I was just out from England, I knew so much about African animals because I'd read everything I could find. And 2 days before I met him, his secretary had suddenly left. So that boring secretarial course, wow, he needed a secretary. And now there I was, surrounded by people who could answer all my questions about the birds and the mammals and the snakes and all the rest of it. And again, I think he was impressed because after a while, he asked if I would be prepared to go and try and learn about wild chimpanzees. My goodness, I wouldn't have dreamed of anything as exotic as a chimpanzee. Nobody had studied them in the wild, nobody. And nothing really was known about their behavior except in zoos. So it took him a year to find the money. He was going to give money to this young girl who hadn't even been to college. But eventually there was money for 6 months. And the problem was in those early days, the chimpanzees took one look at this peculiar white ape, because we are apes, and ran away. And I knew that given time, I could win their trust, just as I had the little animals around my home in England. But did I have time? The money was running out. And then one chimpanzee, before the others, began to lose his fear. And on this really special day, I saw him crouching over a mound of termite nest, and he was using pieces of grass to fish the termites from their nest. And he was breaking off leafy twigs, and to use them as tools, he had to strip the leaves. So David Greybeard, as I called him, was using and making tools. That wouldn't be exciting now. We know many animals can use and even make tools. But back then, Western science had decided, in its arrogance, that humans, and only humans, used and made tools. In fact, we were defined as man the toolmaker. So it was that observation that brought in the National Geographic Society. They said they would give money so I could carry on with the research. And they also sent a photographer and filmmaker, Hugo van Lawick. And so I was able to relax. And as I had known all along, gradually the chimpanzees came to accept this peculiar creature. And they stopped running away. For a little while, they were rather aggressive and tried to chase me off as if I was a predator, which, well, they're at least 8 times stronger than me. But anyway, none of them hurt me. And gradually they just accepted me, and I could learn more about their behavior. And the striking thing was how like us they are, kissing, embracing, holding hands, patting one another, begging for food with hand outstretched, swaggering, threatening each other, shaking their fists. And sometimes when the males are competing for dominance and they're swaggering around and bunching their lips furiously and trying to intimidate the other, they remind me so much of some human male politicians. But anyway, I was fascinated by the long-term bonds that I gradually realized existed between family members. And the mother, the child is dependent on the mother to suckling and milk for 5 years. And even when the next child is born, the older child continues to travel with mother and little brother or sister. And so these bonds can last through life. I was shocked to discover that they have a dark and brutal side, just like us. They're capable of violence and even a kind of primitive war. But just like us, they have qualities of love, compassion, and true altruism. So it became clearer and clearer. There's no sharp line dividing us from them. Well, I'd been in the field 2 years, and I got a letter from Louis Leakey telling me I had to go to university. I had to get a degree. He wouldn't always be around to get money for me. So he was sending me off to Cambridge University in England to do not an undergraduate degree. He said there was no time for that. But he got me in to do a PhD, and I was really scared. I mean, I'd never been to college. And can you imagine how I felt when the professors told me that I'd done everything wrong? I shouldn't have given the chimpanzees names. That was not scientific. I should have numbered them. I couldn't talk about their vivid personalities. I couldn't talk about them having minds capable of solving problems. I certainly couldn't talk about them having emotions like happiness, sadness, fear, despair, grief. Those were unique to us. Well, fortunately, when I was a child, I had a wonderful teacher, and I keep him always in my heart. Maybe you can see him behind me, my dog Rusty. And he taught me that, of course, we humans are not the only beings with personalities, minds, and emotions. And so because of Hugo van Lawick, who became my husband, because of the film that he took, showing chimpanzees tool using, showing them having these relationships between mothers and children, showing all fascinating aspects of their behavior. And because chimpanzees are so biologically like us, we share 98.6% of the composition of our DNA with chimpanzees. That's how biologically like us they are. So science had to accept, after all, there isn't a sharp line. We're part of and not separated from the rest of the animal kingdom. And this brings me to mention this pandemic that is so disrupting everything around the world. You know, we brought this on ourselves. It's already been mentioned today, but scientists who study zoonotic diseases, those that pass from animal to human, for years and years, they have been warning us that a pandemic of this sort was inevitable and that this won't be the last one. Why? Because we have so disrespected the natural world and we have so disrespected animals. We've been cutting down the forests around the world, forests that are so rich in biodiversity. And as we destroy the forests, so animal species are pushed closer together and also forced into closer proximity with humans. This creates an opportunity for a virus to hop from an animal to a person. Hunting, killing, eating. Again, butchering wild animals, selling them for food in Africa and other countries provides a perfect opportunity for a virus to spill over. Then we traffic them. And many animals from Africa and different parts of Asia end up crowded together in tiny cages in horrible conditions in the wild animal meat markets of Asia, as well as the bush meat markets of Africa. And in these unsanitary conditions, again, both the seller and the buyer may be contaminated with a virus. And so sometimes a virus will join up with a cell in a human body and create a new disease. And sometimes, like COVID-19, that disease is very contagious. And so it's our disrespect of animals that has led to this. And it's not just wild animals. There are these intensively farmed animals, these factory farms. They've been called concentration camps for animals. And there again, the conditions are horrendous, stressed animals, unhygienic conditions, viruses have jumped over and other bacteria and caused human illness. And just pause for a moment to think, all of these animals sold in the meat markets, all of these animals bred in our intensive farms, every single one of them has a personality. Every single one of them has emotions, can feel happy, can feel sad, can feel frightened. All of them can feel pain. All of them have a life which for them is valuable. And we're treating them as though they're just things. That's not how it was meant to be. And the great religions of the world have understood that. So anyhow, I got my PhD and I went back and I started a research station in Gombe National Park, which is still going today. In fact, it's our 60th anniversary this year of the day when I first arrived in Gombe National Park in Tanzania. And it was a wonderful life. It was the best days of my life. And I could spend hours out in the rainforest and understand how everything is interconnected in this amazing tapestry of life. So why did I leave? I left because at a big conference, which I helped to organize, I realized for the first time the extent to which the forests of Africa were disappearing and chimpanzee numbers were dropping. And I also realized at the same conference the terrible ways in which chimpanzees are sometimes treated in certain captive situations, like medical research. I went to that conference as a scientist. I left as an activist. I thought I needed to learn more about what was happening in Africa. So I scratched together a bit of money. And I managed to visit 6 range states, range countries. And I learned a lot about what was happening to the chimpanzees, the habitat destruction, the being caught in snares, hunted, poached, mothers shot to catch babies to sell them locally as pets or overseas, the zoos and circuses. And I also learned a lot about the rapidly growing human population needing more space for farming and for their cattle. And I learned at the same time the plight of so many of the African people living in and around chimpanzee habitat, the crippling poverty, the lack of good health and education facilities, and the degradation of the land as population grew. And it came to a head when I flew over the tiny Gombe National Park and saw what had been part of the forest belt across Africa was now a tiny island of forest surrounded by completely bare hills, more people living there than the land could support, and people who were too poor to buy food from elsewhere, cutting down the last trees in their desperation to grow more food to feed their families. And so that's when I realized if we don't work with the people, if we don't help them find ways of making a living without destroying the environment, then we can't even try to save the chimpanzees. And so the Jane Goodall Institute began its program, which is now throughout the whole chimpanzee range in Tanzania and 6 other African countries. The people have become our partners in conservation. We've given them the tools to monitor their forests. They can use smartphones and send the information up to a platform in the clouds. They're very proud of what they do. And so the chimpanzees of Gombe, at least for the foreseeable future, are safe as they are in 6 other African countries where we're working. Well, all of this, of course, costs money. And I was beginning to have to travel more and more raising funds, but mainly to raise awareness, to tell people what was happening. And finding out at the same time all the ways in which we are harming the planet, ways in which you all know. And this drive to reduce the use of single-use plastic is just one of the things that we're doing to harm the planet. And the way that we've disrespected the environment that's led to this pandemic has also led to climate change. We shall emerge from the pandemic, we always do, but we will then be facing a much more serious threat, that of climate change. And that again has been predicted for countless years by scientists studying these things. And I was meeting young people probably about the same age as you, and they seemed to be losing hope in the future. And they told me that we adults had compromised their future and there was nothing they could do about it. Well, if you believe that older generations have compromised your future, you're absolutely right. And there's a saying, we haven't inherited this planet from our ancestors, we've borrowed it from our children. We have not been borrowing your future, we've been stealing it. And now is the time we have to get together and start healing some of the harm that we've inflicted and slowing down climate change for the sake of future generations. And so it was because I met these young people and realized how right they were, but I didn't agree there was nothing they could do. And that's why I started this Roots and Shoots program that you heard about. And basically it began in Tanzania with a few high school students. The main message was every single one of us makes some impact on the planet every single day, and we have a choice as to what kind of impact we make. We decided from the beginning that every group would choose 3 projects. They choose them. We don't tell them what to do. They would choose a project to help people, another project to help animals, and another to help the environment, or all together in one big project. And now, as you heard, we're in nearly 100 countries, and we have members in kindergarten, university, and even young people out in their first jobs. And it's made an enormous difference. We've been talking this morning about collaboration. We're growing because we collaborate. And it would be wonderful to collaborate with some of you. So the Roots and Shoots program has been growing in India, in part thanks to Shweta Kare, who came to Tanzania, fell in love with Roots and Shoots, and is now back in India with her children and helping to grow this program which has taken off in some parts of India. And I was coming to India this year, but of course, because of the pandemic, that fell through. But to end up with my 4 reasons for hope is, first of all of you young people, because I know when young people understand the problems and they're empowered to take action, they're changing the world, whether it's with collecting plastic, whether it's fighting animal trafficking, whether it's helping to protect forests, planting trees, whatever it happens to be that you're passionate about. Once you get going and roll up your sleeves and take action, you are changing the world. My second reason for hope is this brain. And again, in India, you're taking a lead in using solar power, wind power, and things like that. So our brains are beginning to work to help us live in greater harmony with this planet. And then thirdly, nature is amazingly resilient. We can destroy a place, give it time, perhaps some help, nature can come back. It's happening all over the world. Animals on the brink of extinction can be given another chance when there is will and a group of people determined not to let that species become extinct. And then finally, there's what I call the indomitable human spirit, the people who tackle what seems to be impossible and won't give up. And sometimes amazingly disabled people lead lives that are so inspirational to those around them. And so with these 4 reasons for hope, we can, I'm convinced, tackle the 3 greatest problems. 1, we must alleviate poverty, because if you're poor, you're going to destroy the last of the trees, fish the last of the fish, because you're desperate to feed your family. And we have to tackle the unsustainable lifestyle of so many of the rest of us. And I include myself, although I do my best. And then finally, there's the growing population, which people don't like talking about, but there's 7.2 billion of us on the planet now. And already we're using up natural resources in some places faster than nature can replenish them. And it's predicted in 2050, there will be 9.7 billion, nearly 10 billion people. And I don't know what's going to happen. But with these brains, with your energy and commitment, and with the resilience of nature, I'm absolutely sure that, as our Roots and Shoots group say, together we can and together we will. So thank you for giving me a chance to speak to you all this morning, or maybe afternoon for you, I'm not sure. But I'm in the UK, locked down like so many others. And I hope that this conference will be incredibly productive and inspirational and lead to change. You're the change makers, the tide turners, and I hope some of you will also collaborate with us in Roots and Shoots so that together we can be strong. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Goodall, for sharing such an inspiration story. I don't have words to describe how I feel personally, but you just gave us so much hope and just showed us the path. I'm just speechless to say, but I'm sure with your golden words, most of us here have just lived our lifetime dream to hear from you. And we are all filled with inspiration now. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Goodall, for being with us today. It was an honor. It was truly an honor.
Thank you very much again for inviting me.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Goodall.
Thank you.
We have received a few questions. However, we will be sending them to you directly over the email.
Okay, and I will answer them. Okay, so goodbye for now, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye, Dr.
So, Srishti, what's next on the agenda? I guess we need to make our youth audience groove a little bit, get charged up for the upcoming session.
Oh, yes. And you know what? We have an arrangement for that too. So, any guess, guys? Let me tell you. Our next guest is an environmentalist, UNESCO Ambassador for Kindness, an ambassador for UNICEF and Earth Day Network. Also, an internationally acclaimed Grammy-winning music composer who won over 100 music awards in over 20 countries. and he has also performed his music live in over 25 countries. Let's put our hands together to welcome Ricky Cage to say a few words, followed by a musical performance for which we are all super excited.
I'm Ricky Cage, and it is a huge... Hello everyone, Namaste, I'm Ricky Cage, and it is a huge honor for me to be a part of this virtual youth summit of the Tide Turners Plastic Challenge India. Now, great to see such amazing organizations that I have tremendous respect for. The United Nations Environment Programme, Center for Environment Education, Worldwide Fund for Nature, and Million Sparks Foundation coming together for this wonderful cause and to celebrate the achievements and to further motivate you awesome Tide Turner participants. Now, what you participants are doing is pretty much making this world a better place for everyone and everything. Now, with so many environmental problems that we are facing today, I've always believed that the biggest threat to our species is the constant thought that we have that somebody else will make a difference. We're always waiting for governments to make a difference, for leaders, for NGOs, for intergovernmental bodies to make a difference, when the truth is that the only way we can bring about change is if we ourselves change and convert all this awareness that we have into action. Now, you participants have taken action and are leading the world. You are correcting the mistakes of your previous generations, and I sincerely applaud you. That is why I'm honored to present my music to you today. Now, I make music only on the environment and sustainability, and today I'm so glad to be finally preaching to the choir. Now, enjoy the music, let's keep in touch, and all my very best wishes and congratulations for all that you do. Hello everyone, Namaste, Hola. I'm Ricky Cage, and all of us are so honored to perform our music for you today. Welcome to my home studio. As you can see, I'm pretty much staying at home and staying safe. Our first song is an anthem for a better tomorrow, a brighter, a healthier, and a more beautiful future for everyone and everything. And it is being sung by the awesome Benny Dayal and superstar actress and singer Andrea Jeremiah. Here is Jago.
Jago padaro mein jo gan deva. Jago padaro mein jo gan deva. जागो जागो इंसानों के जागने का है ये समय देखना हो न जाए देर आने वाला जो कल होगा आज का ही वो पल होगा देना हमको दखल होगा कूचा कूचा पुकारे आओ मिलके जी सारे ना करो अनसुनारे Reach out, let us join hands and sing this world song. Reach out, let us join hands and sing this one song. Reach out, let us join hands and sing this world song. Reach out, let us join hands and sing this one song. Jago padaro mein jo gan deva. Jago padaro mein jo gan deva. तू और मैं जो मिल जाए तो ना रहेगा फिर हम और वो सब करे तो जाएगा हो अब भी हम अगर चाहे तो बदल देंगे तकदीरों को सब करे तो जाएगा हो दरिया दरिया नदिया पुकारे, नदिया करती इशारे, ना करो अनसुना रे। Sing this one song. Let's join hands and sing this one song. Reach out, let us join hands and sing this one song.
Our next song is about water. This song is a dedication to our great Indian river, Ganges. The Ganga, as we fondly call her, is one of the greatest rivers in the world. In our country, she's studied as a symbol of purity, of spirituality, and of life itself. Incredibly, she nourishes the lives of over 1/10 of the world's population. Here is our next song, Ganga.
भगवती गंगे त्रिभुवन तारिणी तरल तरंगे देवी सुरेश्वरी भगवती गंगे त्रिभुवन तारिणी तरल तरंगे शंकर मौली विहारिणी विमले मम मतिरास्तां तव पद कमले अलकानंदे परमानंदे वैकुण्ठे तस्य निवासः।
The land we walk on is something that we always take for granted. We grow our food, we store our water, we build our homes on this land, we take and take from this land, but we never give back and we never protect. We all know about the water shortages various cities in India are facing now and within the next few years. In fact, the United Nations estimates that land degradation will displace 135 million people by 2045. And land restoration is actually the cheapest solution to mitigating the effects of climate change. Now more than ever, we need to celebrate the joy of life. After all, we are all born from the land. Featuring the Zanzi Youth Choir from South Africa, the Senegalese legend Baba Mal, Lonnie Park from New York, Grammy Award winner Wouter Kellerman from South Africa, and of course our very own superstars. I'm a huge fan of these amazing personalities. Such an honor to perform with them. Kailash Kher and Salim Merchant, we present to you the official UNCCD land anthem, Mitti.
होता वही है घर जहाँ डर हो ना फिकर, मिट्टी की जहाँ आए खुशबू, जहाँ ख्वाब हो फलक पर और सांसों में सबर, जहाँ खुद से हो तू रूबरू। जो देखे कभी सोचे तो जान ले, है कितना खुश किस्मत तू।
Let's celebrate the joy of life. Oh, we're born from the land. Oh, you and I and all of life. Oh, we're born from the land. Let's celebrate the joy of life. Oh, we're born from the land.
बंदे जरा तो रुक, मिलता यही सब कुछ है, पेड़ों की छाँव में हर सुख। सारी अपनी जमीन कभी होगी ना कमी, सबको करती मोहब्बत धरती। जो देखे कभी सोचे तो जान ले, है कितना सुंदर मंजर।
Let's celebrate the joy of life. Oh, born from the land. Oh, you and I and all of life. Oh, born from the land.
तनु जो भी चाहिए तेरे पैरां दे है थल्ले पे यार, सोचता जरा उस तरह हो दुनिया, हूँ भी जिस तरह दिल तेरा।
Let's celebrate the joy of life. We're born from the land.
Let us protect, conserve, and sustain our beautiful world and, of course, ourselves. So sometime back, we made an instrumental version of our national anthem. And for the video, we wanted to showcase the true inhabitants of India, the true citizens of India. Now, who are the true inhabitants of India? In my opinion, they are the forests and wildlife because they have existed on our land long before any humans have ever set foot here. They have shaped our country, they define our beauty, and they are responsible for our survival and sustenance as human beings. And of course, with 1.3 billion people in India, if we Indians protect nature, we are pretty much saving the whole world. Now, if you would please indulge me, let us all rise for the true citizens of India, let us all rise for the true inhabitants of India, and let us all rise for the Indian National Anthem.
Wasn't that a treat to our ears? I am sure you had a chance to groove to the melodious tracks by Ricky and other musicians. Thank you, Ricky, for such an amazing performance.
You know what? I'm really excited for the next session now.
Why, Srishti? Do we have another performance here?
No, not a performance, but real life ambassadors joining us for the Champion Speak session. I know everyone has been waiting for this, so with no further delay, let's welcome Ms. Dia Mirza, UNEP Goodwill Ambassador, UN Secretary General Advocate for SDGs, Ambassador of Wildlife Trust of India, Artist Ambassador Save the Children, Board Member Sanctuary Manager Foundation, and of course, an award-winning actor and producer. And with her, we have Sonika Manandhar, the UN Young Champion of the Earth 2019, who happens to be an entrepreneur by nature and a computer engineer by training. Welcome, Dia and Sonika. To moderate this session, we have very interestingly Ms. Sneha Shahi and Ms. Manya Jha, who are our Tide Turner 2019 champions with us. Over to the champions now.
Thank you, Srishti, and thank you, Chetna. Welcome, Dia ma'am. And
thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you, Srishti. Thank you, Chetna. I have to say that I have not felt so energized like I have this afternoon. It's just been, oh my God, the most wonderful, wonderful, wonderful webinar. Listening to everybody speak, listening to Dr. Goodall speak, followed by Ricky Cage and his beautiful songs, Jago, Ganga and Mitti, and of course, our national anthem. I'm sure all the youth champions who've joined us here are as energized as I am. And thank you, Sneha, for conducting this conversation. Hi, Sonika. Always happy to see you.
Hi, Sonika.
Hi. Thank you so much for inviting me in this wonderful webinar. I've been enjoying. I joined just before Dr. Jane Goodall's presentation. So that was, again, amazing. That's the only word I have. Yeah.
And I have my co-moderator with me, Manya Jha. And so,
hi, Manya. Really excited about this. Let's start.
Let's do it. Okay, so Dia, what prompted you to work and contribute your time for the cause of environmental conservation?
Sneha, I think it goes back to my school days and my childhood. And the understanding that I received from my parents, my teachers, my family, that our lives were deeply connected with nature. But it started really with a love for nature, animals, and wildlife. I grew up in a school that conducted classes under trees, going for bird walks, watching birds and other species, um, riding horses, just having pets at home, watching and developing very strong bonds with our pets. My mother is perhaps one of the most compassionate and wonderful human beings. She would, adopt or bring home injured birds, heal them, then release them. I think when you grew up with witnessing all of this, you recognize uh, how innate it is to us to live in harmony with nature, that we're a part of it. I think I also grew up in a generation that climbed trees, plucked fresh fruit from trees. And this interaction with nature, I think, fostered this understanding. And then, of course, after I became an actor and started working with various organizations in the country, especially with cancer care, I began to understand that a lot of the ailments that people were dealing with were connected to environment. So it was connected to the pollution of water, pollution of soil, pollution of air, food. And while it is necessary to empower organizations that work towards improving human health, I realized that very little was being done in the mainstream media to draw this connection between environment and health, and do more to raise environmental consciousness. And I had the benefit of interacting with some remarkable human beings like Mr. Pittu Sehgal and Mr. Vivek Menon. And I pursued them doggedly. I just chased them and I said, I have to learn more from you. I have to empower myself. I have to educate myself, because I want to take the voice of the scientists. I want to take the voice of conservationists and environmentalists in the country to the wider audience, or the wider range of people that I have access to. And that's how it started. And I think what has happened is that while I've continued a career in film, I have used my communication skills and film and other platforms of communication. So whether it was doing a show like Ganga, the Soul of India, that highlighted how important this life blood is and how many millions of lives it supports, through a form of entertainment. It was also educational, because it gave people the understanding that it's the second most polluted river in the world, what are the causes of the pollution, etc. So that was my what you call television debut. So I think what has happened is, over the years, because of the work that I've done in conservation and environmental protection, I've managed to weave that understanding and that awareness into the narratives that I choose even as a storyteller. I've also kind of found ways to weave it even into characters that I play in films or in shows. So it's, I think, all a part of that broader understanding.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Sonika ma'am, we would like to hear from you now. What inspired you to work and contribute for the cause of environment conservation?
Yeah, thank you, Manya. Before I dive into my journey, I would like to invite you all to close your eyes for a moment and think about home. What comes in your mind immediately? Your house?
The planet?
Your street? Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, the next part I would definitely would love to wanted to take you and imagine you currently are in the space. You know, if you're in space, in the International Space Station, now I'd like to invite you to think about home, and what comes in your mind is Earth, right? Yeah, and this very feeling keeps me motivated and fuels my energy to keep all of our planet healthy, and whatever I'm doing to keep our environment safe and to work towards climate change. And all of these really comes from my lifetime dream of becoming an astronaut and seeing our planet from up above. So that's been my lifetime dream. While I couldn't study aerospace in Nepal because there was no courses available, I studied computer engineering, and this dream had led me to places such as NASA in California, where I studied exponential technologies to solve climate change. That's where I met my co-founder, and both of us really connected very much because we believe that change happens from ground up. And things like such a big things like solving climate change and saving our environment, we always don't have to talk about large projects such as building this solar farm or building this hydropower infrastructure to solve climate change. That is there, but what I believe and what our company really believe is we need to promote and mobilize the grassroots local innovations. Hence, that is why we started one of our product in our company, Green Energy Mobility, where we work with women drivers who work in electric minibus sector in Nepal. And why we chose this sector is because this is very close to my heart, because my family's background is also public transportation. I always wanted to make this transportation sector very much better. We are a women-led company, so we wanted to make sure that these women who have been working in this industry for the past 25 years, when I was only 5 years old, and now I grew 6 times, but this industry is just there and actually declining. Right, and we tried to find out what is actually happening. I mean, this beautiful industry that made Kathmandu a green city pioneer 25 years ago by launching the 700 electric minibuses in public transportation sector, but around mid-2000s, it really started declining. The 700 Safa tempos, which is the electric minibus, really declined, and now only 500 of them runs on the ground, and 200 of them are just rusting in the garage. And we tried to find out what is the problem and how we can really close this gap of bringing in that kind of impact finance to this grassroots local innovations, and kind of not just sustain or not just retain the industry, but to increase the industry. That's why we are working towards bringing in more women entrepreneurs in the electric vehicle sector in Nepal. And so that's what we do. And I really connected with what Tide Turner is doing, actually, because just like Tide Turner is mobilizing all of your champions from grassroots, right, individual level, to solve this big issue of plastic pollution. And I believe that change can happen from ground level. And that's basically my alignment towards Tide Turner is, yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Diya ma'am, the next question is for you. Can you share some qualities which you think the youth should have or develop to become role models such as yourself in working towards saving the planet?
Honestly, Manya, I feel like a lot of the youth is a role model to me. So I draw great inspiration from your awareness, your activism, your altruism, your compassion, your energy. And it's really the work that I do with young people in India that has furthered my purpose, strengthened my purpose, and given me so much love and clarity of what we're doing. But for those who don't understand this, I would say that it really starts with what Sonika said, the basic understanding that we are not citizens of the geography or the small geography that we occupy. We are citizens of this one extraordinary blue planet. And the richness and the vibrance and the diversity of life that exists on this planet exists to further life. And unfortunately, it's the arrogance of human beings, the ignorance. But I'm beginning to believe more now than ever before, it's not the arrogance or the ignorance, it's the apathy that we've had towards this understanding that all of our lives are connected. And every action that we take or we don't take within our lifetime impacts our planet. And I think that if each and every one of us can understand that we need to respond to nature with the same kind of empathy, compassion, and love as we do to our own families, the world will be a better place. But more than that, we would just become better citizens. Our daily actions, our daily choices, our understanding of how to build our lives, our businesses, our country, our world will improve.
Sneha, please unmute yourself.
Bad, sorry. Okay, so thank you, Diya ma'am. The next question is for Sonika. So Sonika, can you share your thoughts on what qualities youth should develop, to become role models such as yourself?
Yeah, sure. I think I would like to focus on what my one of my core value is. It is drive, and I'd like to define drive in a different way. Drive for me is basically being able to control my own directions and speed to reach my own goal. So that is the number one quality that I'd like to pass on to everyone who's listening to me today, that you need to keep driving towards your goal, not in Sonika's way, not in Sneha's way, not in Diya ma'am's way, but your way. And nobody else can take that from you. And that's the biggest strength that you need to realize and identify very early in your journey. That's one. And following up to that, I think one of the main main key towards moving towards your goal is not waiting for anybody else to approve. You don't need any kind of validation. Of course, validation kind of jumpstarts you, but then you don't have to wait for that. You don't have to wait for someone to give you a certificate that, okay, now you can go and then solve this problem, right? So do not really wait for the validation and just Nike's way, just do it. So that's the second I would like to say. And third and last I would like to mention is mix and match. As mentioned earlier, I'm a computer engineer, and if I was thinking, as a computer engineer, I will just program, I'll just code and then done, that's my work. That's that. And like building a product, because I come from a startup background, so I talk a lot about product, I'm sorry about that. But building a product or building a product to solve any challenges, you really need to get into the field and talk to the people and talk to just be dirty in the field, right? So you need to do that. And I think one of my biggest strength today is not just being a computer engineer, but to be able to go to the grassroots and then talk to them and know about that problem and bring that knowledge back to my tech team and then translate that to something valuable that actually works for them. So yeah, those are the three things that I'd like to highlight.
Okay, Shrishti ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you, Diya and Sonika. It was very, very inspiring to hear from both of you. You have definitely motivated a lot of youth, and especially me, with your inspiring stories. Hope your words encourage a lot more youth leaders across the globe. We can only protect, sustain, and nurture our planet if we all act together. Hashtag together possible. Thank you. Thank you for joining us to both of you. Please do stay for the...
Thank you, Sneha. Thank you, Manya and Sonika. It was such a pleasure. And I just want to congratulate all the participants of Tide Turners. I think, like many people have said already, you are the beginning of some formidable change, and I hope that you continue to collaborate and be strengthened by each other's participation, and continue to inspire and motivate us. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I saw a few questions in Q&A. If you'd like to connect, feel free to connect to me in any social media, and we can talk more and I can share my experiences. And all the best to all of you. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye, and thank you. Thank you. Please stay if you want to continue for the rest of the session as well. So thank you. As we move to let's move to also thank you Sneha and Manya for moderating this session. I think we have another one coming for you. So please stay online. The Tide Turner Challenge is a global movement. Like India, it has inspired many young champions around the globe. We have with us today youth representatives from 4 countries, Uganda, Kenya, Ghana, and India, who will be sharing their experiences through the journey. Let's hear it from them.
And for this session, we have again Sneha and Manya as moderators. Over to you all.
So the first question is for Aditya Mukherjee. Aditya, are you there?
Yes, hello, I'm here.
Yeah. So the question to you is plastic pollution. Why does it matter to you, and what is the most unique action you have taken against it so far?
So there's a growing need for reduction in plastic pollution. As we all know, plastic takes anywhere between 500 to 1,000 years to degrade. Thus, they remain in our environment for a long time, making them non-biodegradable. It is said that by 2050, there will be more plastics in the ocean than fish. Nearly 50% of all the plastic produced is single-use plastics, and this is just used and thrown. Did you know that India produces over 15 million tons of plastic waste annually as per UNDP India? And these numbers are growing. This is because many urban Indians have become wasteful consumers and are just creating a massive pressure on the environment. Though India may have a higher rate of recycling, globally only 10 to 15% of all plastic waste is recycled. Thus, recycling only delays the time when the plastic ends up in the landfill or water bodies. And recycling alone cannot be the only means for plastic waste management. Since 2018, I have been working to reduce and eliminate single-use plastics from the hospitality sector, and I'm influencing others to do the same. As of April 2019, I had been able to eliminate over 26 million plastic straws and a few million other single-use plastic items on an annual basis. I go to establishments and encourage them to not serve straws at all. And if a customer really demands one, then they should be given an eco-friendly straw. I share a detailed list of all eco-friendly product suppliers, which enables establishments to easily source them. I do this without any financial involvement and only a recommendation, because I do not want the inability to source alternatives to become the reason for not giving up single-use plastics. I'm an intern at UNDP India and a volunteer at Chintan. In the first few weeks of interning at UNDP, I was able to secure memorandums of understanding to recycle nearly 33 tons of plastic waste per month. I feel that in the field of environment, no one can be an overachiever, as no action is either too big or too small, and each action is unique. Every change at the micro level translates to a larger change at the macro level. I would like to end with just 2 simple messages. Refuse if you cannot reuse, and to leave the world a little better than how you found it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aditya. So our next question is for Sarah. Can you please connect? Sarah, could you please turn on your audio?
We can go to the, okay, she's here.
Okay. Hi, Sarah. So, what inspired you to join the Plastic Tide Turner Challenge, and how did you cope with the academics and the challenge activities at the same time?
Hello, greetings everyone. My name is Apio Sarongo. I'm from Uganda, representing Junior Achievement Africa. I'm so glad to be here. So my question is, what inspired me? Literally, I can say my love and passion for the environment inspired me too. It had always been my dream to educate the mass about plastic pollution, but I didn't get the right platform or where to start from to educate the mass about plastic pollution. So the Titanus Plastic Challenge actually came in fulfillment with my dream, and it gave me a platform to do so. About
Yeah, the curriculum.
my education or balancing school with the competition, it was literally not easy, that's what I can say. But in life, for one to succeed, one should put in some proper planning. So I had to plan. I had to study the nature of the competition, first of all. How was it? Was it an everyday thing? Yeah, after studying it, I had to set in my goals. So in my goals, I was like, every day I will tackle one challenge. Maybe from school, I will go back to the community and try to interact with the community, the plastic collectors and the collection scheme owners. So that's how actually I kept on doing it. Then I had to put in place my timetable for school. At the same time, I was on apprenticeship or internship with another company. So it was literally hard. Every morning I had to wake up and read my books. When I reach the workplace, I have to do some little research on plastic, like for 1 hour before I can go for breakfast. Then later I can work. Then after work, I can go to school. So then also another thing is I had to network with the relevant authorities. So the relevant authorities, I had to connect with the radio stations so that we could carry out a radio talk show about plastic pollution. I went ahead to the school authorities, the guild presidents. That's how I did it. Then the other thing is I made friends with my neighbors. I made friends with everyone around me. So any information I needed, I had to consult my friends in case maybe the next challenges, they need us to form a group and discuss about plastic pollution. So whenever I need help, I could literally just contact them. Then the other thing is basically research. Yeah, I really did a lot of research during the competition. So I think that's all. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you so much, Junior Achievement Africa and the UN Environment Program and everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's a really enduring journey that you have had. So the next question is to Alice. Alice, are you there? Can you please connect? Hi, Alice. So the question to you is, as a tide turner, what tools did you use to expand your reach to maximum people to take action against single-use plastics?
So, hello everyone, I'm glad to be here today. So the tools that I used are a couple of them, but first I went for the movies, videos, and I took some pictures from our local rivers, landfill, across the streets, on the roads, and then I could share with my people. I could visit schools, and children are the greatest ambassadors in this world. So I could share with the children some videos on what the single-use plastics are doing to the environment and to our future generations. As Dr. Jane mentioned, the older generation has really compromised our our future. So share with them, and then someone is able to remember, visualize everything when sees a picture or video. So
I feel, yeah, okay.
whereby I had my few trainees and also have a few chats with invite the local television channels, and we could have the local radio.
I think her internet connection is a bit unstable. Alice, we can't hear you properly. And I think it has stuck now, so we might have to move forward. Sneha and Vanya,
Alright.
please manage, yeah?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Alice. So our next question is going to be for Isaac. Isaac, can you please connect your audio and video? Isaac, are you over here?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
So being a young individual, how challenging was it for you to influence your family, friends, and peers to take action against plastic? Can you share some examples with us?
Thank you. My name is Isaac Makinya. I am a scout, born and living in Kenya, and also serving as a youth rep for the World Organization of the Scout Movement. I've been taking part in the Plastic Titanus Challenge for the past 1 year, and since then, I've been able to change my behavior. Just like I've tried to reduce the use of single-use plastics as an individual. I've also been able to create awareness on the effects of these plastics, the environment around us in different platforms, to my family, friends, and peers. This is to ensure that we have a joint force that is working towards resolving pressing environmental issues. But then, I would like to confess that it has not been an easy journey. It has not been a walk in the park. I've been facing a number of challenges in this process. Charity begins at home, and therefore I started with my family. And as you all know, the family is structured in a way that directions come from the parents downwards to the children. But now, me as a young individual, trying to come up with a new idea in the family, then it's trying to sound like I'm trying to change the whole system of the family. And with this, then the adoption process becomes quite slow. And then we also have the parents being our breadwinners. Then at times they decide what to buy for us. And therefore, mom or dad comes in the evening at home with food packaged in plastic bags. When you try to question, then mom tells you, or maybe that's what was readily available by then. And at times you might not question the parents more, so you just leave it there. And then to my friends, not all of them have really joined this fight against single-use plastics. And they claim that we might not part ways with plastics because almost all the essentials that we need in our lives are packaged in plastics. Look at water, look at yogurts, look at bread, and all the other essentials that we need. And therefore, and also in my country, when you walk around with a bottle of water or maybe juice in the city or in town, then it's termed as being cool. So these young people are trying to adopt this culture, and therefore it becomes quite hard to convince them to stop using this. Despite all these challenges, and owing to the fact that new habits take time to establish, I will always take action and lead by example. And I'll always talk about it to all the people that I come across, because I believe that once they start getting comfortable with this topic, then they move closer, and then we meet at the middle. And that's how we're going to turn the tide. Thank you.
Thank you, Isaac. That was really nice. So our next question is for Vinay Raj Singh. Can you please connect? Vinay, do we have you?
Vinay, kindly switch on your video so that we can see you.
I'm not able to actually post will start it.
Okay, yeah, now we can see you. Sneha, over to you.
Yeah. So, Vinay, can you share some interesting or life-changing experiences or moments from your Tide Turner journey?
First of all, this is Vinay Singh from India, and I'm rover of Bharat Scouts and Guides. Firstly, I want to tell that our mind is a powerful thing. When we fill it with the positive thoughts, our life starts to change. And now I can really say this thing that Tide Turner Challenge given me a chance to change my lifestyle, and it gave me a knowledge of many new things. As I have already been involved in environmental issues, as I am a rover of Bharat Scouts and Guides, Tide Turner Challenge provided an opportunity to involve many other students and my family members with me to become a Tide Turner Challenger, or for making people aware about the harmful effects of plastics. Completing Tide Turner Challenge was really exciting. Because of Tide Turner Challenge, I got to know about so many things, unique things I can say, which contains plastic in them, which were I was not aware about them before, like face wash, toothpaste, tea bags, and many more things. And no one was aware about these things before. When I told them, they were also shocked that these things also can contain plastic in them, and they have uh, attached with me in this movement, and we all have encouraged lots of people by our social media accounts and with many more things. Because of Titanic challenge, I have done many tasks like segregating waste from riverbanks, segregating waste from our houses. Now we have segregated them, but everyone doesn't know that where to dump those waste. After searching on internet and all the platforms, and with the help because of Titanic challenge, I got to know where to dump those waste and how to recycle them. And because of this, I have recycled many plastic items or single use plastic items, and we have made many handicrafts from those items. This is all because of the Titanic challenge. I really want to thank the makers of the Titanic challenge, and thank you for allowing me to speak here. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your experience, Vinay. Our next question is directed to Alicia. What do you think is the most powerful tool to influence behavior change in people?
Thank you, Manya, for asking the question. So, to start with, knowledge and willingness to act are two major elements in order to bring about a positive change. Positive reinforcement through education, coupled with a role model, goes a long way in imprinting people's mind with positive behavioral patterns. An even stronger tool, which is observed to have a larger impact, is fear. When people are made to realize how certain habits and actions can lead to the jeopardization of their lives, their very reality, they change. For example, the COVID-19 has impacted all of us and forced us to clean up more often and take care about our hygiene and brought about a need for social distancing. Thus, unless a situation doesn't pose as a challenge in the face of our survivorship, won't be ready to accept the changes and adapt to new and different lifestyle. But that doesn't imply that we need to wait for the situation to worsen. Instead, what we have to do is we people need to be made we need to make people more aware about the facts about how certain consumption patterns and habits can serve as grave danger for our planet. If we see majority of the people out there wouldn't be convinced to change their consumption patterns, and unless their self-interests are catered for. Which brings me to another tool to influence positive behavioral change, that is incentives. What government can do is draw out a plan for tax reductions and subsidies for people who choose to use sustainable products. For example, people who use more of public transportation, fast food chains, which use more of sustainable products like paper plates or bamboo cutlery, etc. Thus, when people know that they can be benefited by using certain products, they'd be encouraged to do the same, which will in turn help them financially. Thank you.
Thank you, Alicia. And my next question is to Purnanda Swatishri. Are you there? Kindly connect.
Hello.
Hello, Purnanda. So the question to you is, one action every youth can take for reducing single-use plastic.
Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Purnananda Swatisharath. I am from India. I am student at the College of Engineering and Technology, located in Odisha. Every year, 1,000 tons of plastic are being produced, and these are thrown away even after single use. Single-use plastic are harmful to the environment and affect our health also. So it's time to say no to single-use plastic. There are various ways for reducing single-use plastic, like switching to the sustainable alternative, increasing awareness among people, and redesigning the single-use plastic. By making small changes in our daily habits, we can reduce a large amount of the plastic pollution. We can use our own reusable cup, reusable straw, and carry our own cloth bag. Another way for reducing plastic pollution is redesigning of the single-use plastic. I have done redesigning of the single-use plastic during Tight Turner Challenge. I recycled plastic bottle to make hanging garden. I also made the bird feeder with plastic bottle. This one is a hanging garden. You can make easily at your home. Just take a bottle and cut from the middle and plant trees. And this one is a bird feeder. I also plan to make eco-brick furniture out of the single-use plastic. You can collect single-use plastic items and can make eco-brick. You can use eco-brick as furniture and boundary walls and steps in the garden. Doing the small changes may seem like a teeny step, but if all of us do it, it can make a big difference. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Purnananda. Those were some really creative ideas. My next question would be directed towards Brian. If given the power to bring about one change in the world which will mitigate the issue of single-use plastic, what will you do?
Thank you very much. My name is Brian Odima. I am a scout from Kenya. Now, given a chance, I would spearhead involvement. Now, that I feel is the biggest form of action that the world can take, involvement. Now, I'll give you an example of my country. Now, my country is one of the 36% of countries that have laws on single-use plastic in the world. It is also amongst the 14% of countries in the world who have totally banned single-use package plastic. Now, the problem is the government in its side feels like once they've passed the law, then the law has trickled down to everyone. However, in secret, you'll find that someone has decided to use a plastic bag here, another person has decided to produce a plastic bag there. So it is not as effective because there is no involvement of everyone in the supply chain. Now, another example I will give on involvement is, for example, the Coca-Cola company in some countries have decided that they will give an incentive to recycle single-use plastic. For example, a single-use plastic bottle return policy. However, how effective is it in some other parts of the world? Because as we know right now, the research shows that only 9% of single-use plastic is recycled in the world. Only 9%. What about the 91%? It ends up in our oceans. Now, most of us in the coronavirus pandemic are involved in having reuse masks that are not reusable. Yeah. So once we've used our mask maybe once, we throw it away. However, if we had involvement, think about having something like a reusable mask, which once we done with it, then we are able to reuse it one more time. So personally, I would focus on involvement, because involvement does not only talk about the governments at the top who come up with policy. It also involves everyone along the supply chain, and especially the young people, because a young person represents change. Yeah, we are the change, and you're not going to change the world tomorrow. We are going to change the world right now. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Brian. That was really nice. And now I have Victor with us. Do we have Victor with us? So the next question is, what do you think would motivate or inspire youth to take action towards environmental conservation?
All right, thank you very much. Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? All right, so thank you very much. I'm Victor from Ghana. And first of all, I would like to say a very big thank you to UNEP for this opportunity, and then also to JA Africa in Ghana here. So I think one of the three things that I will tackle, that is as to how we can conserve, how young people can actually take action to save the environment, is first of all, one, education. When we talk about education, how can young people, how can information get to young people? How can education get to young people about the harmful things they do that actually harm the environment? So one of the things you would have to look at is education that is just towards how education can get to social media, TV, the middle income people. How do they get access to the various information about the environment? Because we only see information on social media. How many people on social media that get to see this information about the environment? So we would have to be able to educate people that are not even on social media, that is on the street and all that. So as Dr. Rasp said, we would have to target the young ones. The young ones are our future leaders, our future generation. So if you are able to give them the education in their various schools, the primary schools, then that way they'll be able to educate their families. When you teach a kid, he's able to send that kind of education to the house, and that kid is able to teach a whole lot of the mom, the dad, the other siblings as well. So education has to be very important in the aspect of the children and then the middle income people. I think one other thing is also about the attitude. Now, attitude is a problem we have now in terms of when it comes to single-use plastic. People still see plastic as waste. So we'd have to come up with innovations that tells people that no, plastic is not waste. You can actually reuse plastic into something different. You can actually use plastic into innovative ideas, especially in my company. We reuse plastic into dustbins, Christmas trees, and innovative ideas to actually tell people that plastic is no more waste. After taking in your content, it is no more waste, because people still see plastic as waste. So we have to give out information. We have to come up with innovative ideas. And I think the last thing is about, are there incentives? Are there awards? Are there money? Because right now people only know about how they can actually sell their plastic to cash. So actually people only know about that. Are there any other innovative ideas, or where people can actually come and understand that, okay, so if I segregate my waste at home and then keep my plastic, I have this company to sell my plastic to. So all these are action-driven education to actually motivate people to take up challenges to save the environment. So I think this three thing has to be taken taken into consideration, so that people can actually see that, okay, then if I'm doing this, then I'm saving the environment. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Victor. So I would lastly like to ask Uma, what is that one thing that you take back from participating in this challenge that you're going to do for all your life? And could you tell us why that thing is so special to you?
Hi, thank you so much for giving me part of this program. I'm Uma Shankar from Telangana State, India. So I would like to tell you that the start of my journey for this Tide channel, it started in the month of February. By the end of the March, I have completed 2 levels. But due to this lockdown, they have changed it completely. Again, I have to do the second level. So second level, when I was doing the initially part before the lockdown, there was a scenario of collecting the plastic waste. It's a 1 week campaign which was came in. So I was also very active associated. I'm a national awardee with the ministry. So I was very associated with the NSS of all the universities in Telangana. So I could influence at least 22 institutions to take up the segregation waste, including my institution. I work as an assistant professor. So this happened. So almost 800 of cages of plastic waste was given to the recycling. The major challenge what I faced and understood was, if we can segregate it before, we mix all the waste and give for the decomposition, if you can segregate it prior, it's a very easy task. So I insisted the management to come up with, to have a 3 dustbin concepts where we collect paper waste and plastic waste in 2 dustbins, and the other part was, and the other was on the other was on the e-waste. So this plastic waste can be recycled. Now, what did I understand by this whole journey was, I could influence almost 1400 of my students to make 10 bags of each person and give 14,000 bags, and which, the government of Telangana has also appreciated us for the World Environmental Day for this activity. This was one challenge I felt, being a teacher, I thought, in my lifetime, I'll have almost 30 years of service as next upcoming. So I can educate more of them and, move towards a sustainable change platform. Let me educate them on what all the alternatives have, how can they transform it. Generally, why do they use plastic is, it's cheaper, but they don't understand you buy 10 plastics is equal to a 1 steel bottle. If you buy 10-20 plastic bottles, it's equal to it. So it's all how you understand them. Since I'm been now heading the NSS in my institution and being associated with it, by the next academic year, I'm sure that 100 colleges which are associated with me in working in this NSS will be part of this and, take up this movement till me and my family members are now committed that, 17 families we have made part of this campaign. And we thought we will definitely take up this activity, stop them using single-use plastic, make them be part of using alternative things. And the other part was, if we have to use it like shampoo packets or, brushes or something, and see that a proper decomposition happens. Now we came up with an MOU with the ITC here, which is doing a plastic recycling. Even our colony and our institution has signed an MOU in the month of April, a virtual MOU. It's a virtual MOU we had. So I'm sure that, our institution in Telangana will become the first institution to be a plastic-free campus, and that I surely do it by the end of the next academic year, next World Environmental. This is the resolution I took up from this challenge, and I'll see it next academic year. And also my colony, also the residential area which I am living, also will turn out into a plastic-free. Apart from all this, we generally do a program called Village Adoption Campaign in our institution. We adopt 5 villages under part of UNEP Bharat Abhiyan and under the MHRD ministry. It's a MHRD ministry program. So I also been trying to put up to the collector is heading, the district magistrate will head the whole program. So I thought I'll bring up with an action plan where we can reduce the maximum users of plastics in the villages, and also make these villages a eco-friendly village kind of a thing, a model kind of a thing should be planned. This is what my further course of action comes in. So this is what I wanted to do up till the last breath of my life, where I can see that maximum plastic I avoid, and I make my peer team and my family members to be part of it. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Uma.
Chetna? Yes, we are here.
Thank you. You definitely motivated a lot. Your inspiring stories definitely motivated a lot of youth that are present with us. Thank you all for inspiring us with all your compelling stories, especially our champions from Uganda, Kenya, and Ghana. We could not hear Alicia's story properly, but you can read her story at the Tide Turner Challenge website. There was some internet connectivity, but thank you all for joining us and inspiring all of us here. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you, Sneha and Manya, for moderating this session. Hope you keep leading the change.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Chetna, there are many more youth who have worked really hard to reach this stage and earn this Tide Turner recognition. While we will be having their glimpse shortly, We would like to recognize all our partners who supported this entire transition and encourage the youth to take the challenge from their home. We had a huge support from Scouts globally, and here are some of our key partners and supporters of the campaign in India. We had a number of colleges and schools with whom we partnered, and we had, as mentioned earlier, we had also youth participating from 3,000 plus institutions from across the country. So we are thankful for their contributions.
Well, the time that we have been waiting for is finally here. More than 1,700 champions completed the Tide Turner Challenge and inspired thousands more through their action. Many, many congratulations to the champions who have completed the Tide Turner Challenge. Do you want to see who they are? Let's have a quick countdown before we actually see them. So can we start? Ready, everybody? Can we start with a 5, a 4, a 3, a 2, and a 1? Here we go.
Congratulate all these champions. I would now like to invite Mr. Brian Michuki, Communications and Youth Officer at UNEP, who also leads the challenge in Africa. Brian, over to you. Brian, are you here? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, please go ahead.
Great. Hello, everyone. Namaste. My name is Brian Michuki. I work for UNEP here in Nairobi, Kenya. I just want to thank you all, to our fantastic panelists in the Tide Turners Challenge, and to the participants from all over the world and in the 23 countries. Young participants like you inspire us with all your commitment to taking the most challenging issues to build a safer, cleaner environment for a resilient future. I am delighted, we all are, to celebrate the achievement and efforts of the young plastic warriors who have been inspiring with their commitment to address the most pressing environmental concern, single-use plastic and its impact on the planet. I have been lucky to be involved in the Tide Turners Challenge since implementation, when the project was launched in Kenya by former UK Prime Minister, Honorable Theresa May, in summer of 2018. The project quickly scaled to 4 other countries in Africa, where a total of 32,000 participants were involved. I've had so much fun interacting with the young people, the youth, during the training of trainers, webinars, online jamborees, etc., etc. We've been able to manage to get amazing success stories from all over India, etc., and Africa as well. We have been able to get amazing stories like from Alicia Mora in Kenya, who has actually been able to train over 5,000 girls in Kisii County. Long are the days we were told that we are the future leaders of tomorrow. This is clearly far from the truth. We are the leaders of today. And as my boss Sam Barrett mentioned, the youth majorly account for a lot of decision making in today's world. We are so, so proud of you all. Let's acknowledge our production and consumption of single-use plastics and our inability to manage plastic waste sustainability have led to a massive pollution problems. Marine litter and microplastics are flooding our oceans and hurting marine ecosystem and human health on an unprecedented scale. You all agree with me, my fellow youth, we share the same air that we breathe. And what we put in our oceans greatly affects us. So this is a global problem, stretching from the Indian Ocean in Mombasa, Kenya, to the Arabian Seas to the west, Thin Creek to the east, and Vasai Creek to the north in Mumbai city. The solution does not lie at sea, though it lies on land with us, the ones who started the problem. So once again, a big thank you to our UNEP office in India, Mr. Atul and the team. A big, massive shout out to Gayatri Ma'am, who has been absolutely amazing and phenomenal. You are a star, Gayatri. Much appreciation to our indispensable partners, whom without them, the Titaners would not have been possible to implement, especially during these difficult and uncertain times of the COVID-19. This includes the Indian government through the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, eco clubs, who have created a unique opportunity to educate youth about environmental issues. We also have amazing partners like the CEE, Million Sparks Foundation, and WWF, who have been totally amazing. I know all of you are wondering, what are the next steps for the next phase? So for phase 3, the main idea is to scale up the Titaners work, focusing on transforming Titaners to wave makers through a new advocacy component built into the program. So phase 3 is to commence in the last quarter of this year, 2020, and will target more countries in Africa, Asia, Caribbean, and the Pacific. We promise it will be more fun, engaging, and we are all excited and looking forward. I end by saying, we are all fortunate to have as beautiful a place as planet Earth to call home. Let's not forget. And quoting the amazing Dr. Jane Goodall, we share this home with wondrous plants and animals, all of whom are doing their part to keep the planet healthy and beautiful. Let's do our part too. Let us keep our oceans, forests, rivers, roads picture perfect and plastic free. One of my role models and greatest marathoner of our times, Eliud Kipchoge from Kenya, said, "The world is actually full of challenges, and we need to challenge ourselves. Self-discipline starts with you. It's no other person. It starts with you. Self-discipline is doing what is right instead of doing what you feel like doing." That is the meaning of self-discipline. So let us live by the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, and recycle. Dhanyavad. Thank you. Asante.
Thank you so much, Brian, for showing us the way ahead. And we are so looking forward to the wave makers and such an inspirational message such an encouraging message for the youth. So Chetna, now moving ahead, and we all know now it has been a long day with so many powerful speeches and interactions. So Chetna, now how do you feel?
It has definitely been a long day, but I am supercharged for the next session. Before I introduce him, I request all my viewers or participants to grab a pencil, pen, eraser, and obviously a table. Our next session is with a young conservationist who is known to be notorious for rolling up into a ball like a pangolin to avoid meeting people, but he doesn't hide away to give his correct opinions on conservation and conservation and environment through his cartoons. He's a cartoonist, illustrator, and a creator of Green Humour series, a series of cartoons, comics, and illustrations on wildlife and nature conservation. His cartoons appear periodically in newspapers, magazines, and journals. Please welcome our very own Rohan Chakravarty for a live fun session on wildlife cartooning. I am ready with my pen and paper to note down all the tips. So over to you. The virtual stage is all yours, Rohan.
Thank you. The virtual stage is so much more convenient given my reclusive behavior. Thank you, Chetna. Thanks for making me a part of this. I've been associated with WWF for years now, and we've done some phenomenal work together. And I thank WWF once again for making me a part of such a huge stage, even if it is a virtual one, alongside dignitaries like Jane Goodall, Ricky Cage, Diya Mirza. And yeah, it's a great opportunity. But more than that, I'd like to point out that I'm not young anymore, Chetna. I'm 32, and when I was young, I thought that people older than me had all the knowledge about this world. But now when I've crossed my 30s, I think people younger than me have all that knowledge. So thanks to all of you participants for sharing all that knowledge with me. And, even though I have done a lot to eliminate single-use plastic from my life, I know that I have a much longer way to go. And thank you for inspiring me to keep on motivating myself and, using you guys as examples. So thanks for that. I'm just going to share my screen now so that you can view my slideshow. I'm just going to introduce my work to all of you, and then we'll head to the workshop. All right. Okay. I hope my screen is visible to everybody. Is my screen visible to everybody?
Yes, Rohan, it is.
Yes.
Great. So my session's called Wildlife the Toonie Way. It's going to be a fun session about wildlife cartooning. I'm going to take you through the various stages of cartooning as quickly as possible in the given time. And we are going to create a cartoon on marine litter. All right. Well, Dr. Jane Goodall introduced herself with a chimpanzee imitation. I'm very tempted to do the imitation of the Indian version of the chimpanzee, which is the grey langur. So here goes. All right, hello and welcome everyone. This is my first Zoom conference and I'm very nervous. I just figured out how to log into Zoom and share my screen. So if I make any more errors and if I fumble, please forgive me. What is Green Humour? Green Humour is my series of cartoons, comics, and illustrations on wildlife and nature conservation. I'm just going to show some of my work that I've done on the issue of marine litter, this being a platform to share views on marine litter. These are some of my current publishers. My comic strip gets published in the Universal Press Syndicate's Go Comics, some newspapers like Midday, The Hindu, which come out of India. There are some e-magazines like Round Glass. And I also work with a Turkish science magazine called Araştırmacı Çocuk. I've worked, in addition to all this, I've worked with major organizations like WWF, the Save Our Seas Foundation, BirdLife International, etc. There are some places on the internet where you can follow my work, greenhumor.com, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Why is there a need for humor in conservation communication? For once, man and wildlife agree that we have a crisis in hand. It's already being called the Anthropocene, which means a human-driven crisis. So what I feel my work does, and in general, creative communication around conservation does, is to deliver a message of conservation without preaching. That's very important. It's very important to simplify scientific jargon for the layman, because if that is not done, a layman like me does not feel compelled to connect with an issue concerning a wild animal or anything concerning biological science. And most importantly, it instills a love, respect, and curiosity for nature in my readers. This is just an example of a wildlife conservation cartoon about palm oil and orangutans. Coming to marine litter, I'm just going to leave you to read some of my work, some of my published work on marine litter. You might already know about the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, which is, I believe, 3 times the size of France, and is a patch of garbage which is visible from outer space. As we all know, leatherback turtles and other turtles that eat jellyfish often mistake plastic bags for their food, jellyfish, and end up choking themselves. This is a very real problem even inland in India, and not just our marine waters or oceans, because plastic is one of the biggest threats to our national river, the Ganga. And this is our national aquatic animal, the Gangetic dolphin. Plastic and other kinds of debris and litter like styrofoam have even reached the poles, the Arctic Circle and Antarctica. Our weddings, Indian weddings, are great examples of how not to consume, right? I mean, we most of them are so lavish and elaborate, involving several flights to several tons of litter. Plastic straws are a very real problem, and thankfully, India has been taking some very substantial recent steps to address the issue. And like I said, plastic has reached unimaginable places like the top of Mount Everest, where a lot of litter being left behind by mountain climbers and trekkers is being recovered. How not to conduct a marathon for saving the planet. Yeah, this is one particular cartoon that made quite a mark among my international readers, because this is an issue that resonated with a lot of people, and most importantly, marine biologists, because they take it upon themselves to educate people about plastics and find a really difficult time to convince tourists to, not indulge in the use of plastics, especially when they are at beaches or out in the sea. You all must have heard about the bottle cap challenge that I think the British actor Jason Statham had started, and then it caught on like a rage, because even the Indian actor Akshay Kumar indulged in it, and several other celebrities ensued. But yeah, I mean, in my opinion, I would assume that it generated so much litter that a turtle would have been compelled to take the challenge himself like this. A new kind of litter that we are grappling with right now is litter resulting from the pandemic. Protective gear, face masks, gloves, they're all, despite governments taking measures to incinerate and manage these wastes, they are finding their way into the sea. And you may have read the recent news that masks are going to outnumber jellyfish in the oceans in the years to come, and that's not very good news. Other than cartoons and comics, I also do wildlife caricatures like these. India has the highest number of wildcat species for any country in the world. One of our most biodiverse forests, the Western Ghats, have several species of endemic frogs and other kinds of wildlife. I've also done illustrated maps on wildlife, like this one for WWF for their educational programs in Karnataka, in the state of Karnataka. I've also done a couple of books, one of which, The Great Indian Nature Trail, has been published by WWF. It's a comic book on Indian wildlife. All right, so I hope everybody is ready with their drawing material. All you need is just a pencil and some rough paper. And now I'm going to show you how to draw a wildlife cartoon. Is my new screen visible to all of you?
Yes, Rohan, it is visible.
Great. All right, so the cartoon I'm going to teach you to draw is about marine litter. And I think the most expressive creature in the marine environment is the dolphin. So I'm going to use the dolphin as an example. Now, there are, how many species of dolphins are there in the world? There are 44. And, it's very difficult to pick one, but I think I'll go with the most common dolphin in the world, which is the common bottlenose. It looks something like this. Can you all see this?
Yes, we can.
So I'm going to use this guy as my cartoon character to take you through the various steps of this workshop. So a common mistake we all make when we try to draw cartoons is to start with the head, right? We've all tried to draw Mickey Mouse and Dexter and so many of our favorite cartoon characters, but this is a common mistake we make. We need not start straight away with the head. First of all, we need to warm up, and we need to warm up like artists. I am not asking you to do push-ups or run around the room. What we're going to do for warming up is this. We're going to draw some basic shapes, and very quickly with a very rough hand. So beginning with concentric circles, something like this. First you start in an anti-clockwise direction. 5 circles in an anti-clockwise direction, and repeat the same process clockwise. So this was anti-clockwise, this was clockwise. And we just keep drawing a few more until we feel our hands freeing up. Okay. Once we are done with this, we can experiment with a few other shapes, because a lot of our cartoon drawing depends on how good we are at drawing shapes. So this is a very rough square. Do not mind if it's not looking finished or accurate. That's not the point. The point is just to warm up. And then we draw other shapes like the triangle, etc. I do this every day before I set about drawing. So that was about warming up. In case you guys want me to pause anywhere, I think you can just put a message out in the chat, and one of the organizers will convey it to me. All right, so the next step is to create our cartoon character. What you see here is a dolphin that I've already drawn, and now I'm going to break it down for you. So my most dreaded subject is mathematics, and unfortunately I thought once I became a cartoonist I'll get away from maths for all my life, but I was so wrong. Mathematics is applied even in cartooning. So I'm going to show you how. Every time we begin designing a character, we need to draw the X and Y axis that we've learned in early mathematics. So something like this, like a Jesus curve. All right. And this becomes the framework on which we are going to design our dolphin. So usually a dolphin, realistically speaking, looks something like this. And it's not always easy to reproduce this form when we are drawing comics. So what we're going to do is to simplify this shape and try to create a cartoon character that is simple to reproduce. So a dolphin's shape is something like a big oval or a barrel. So we're going to draw a nice oval shape around this cross. All right. Once we've done this, you remember what species of dolphin we were using? The bottlenose dolphin. So like the name suggests, its nose is like a bottle. So we're going to do a quick elongated shape along the head. And then for completing the rest of its body, I'm going to use 2 more lines. All right, now this becomes the basic framework for our dolphin. Now we're going to start filling up the details. First, we do the eyes. We need a very expressive character, so I'm going to give it 2 large eyes. All right. Dolphins are always smiling, no matter which species. So we're going to give it a nice broad smile and complete the snout. I think I have some responses in the chat window. Oh no, okay. All right. One important difference between sharks and dolphins is that, so a shark's tail is something like this, with the tail fins perpendicular to the axis of the body, but in a dolphin's tail, they are parallel. All right. So we're going to draw them the way dolphins' tail fins are, and not sharks. And then the 2 fins for the hands and 1 fin at the back. And that completes our cartoon character. If you want, I can send you a link to this entire worksheet later on so that if you're missing any of the steps, you can just go back to it and repeat them. All right, so that was about designing our cartoon character, which is the first step to creating your cartoon. Similarly, you can play around with several different characters. For example, a turtle, the same process. You need not draw this, just watch. I draw 2 axes and then a rough framework, all right? And then I fill in the details. This is the carapace of the turtle. I give it some flippers and a tiny tail, right? That becomes my turtle. And similarly, various other kinds and forms, not necessarily marine creatures, but also terrestrial ones, like a tiger, for example, could be drawn using the same formula. All right. And so on and so forth. Coming to step 3. Step 1 was more warming up. Step 2 was designing your character. Step 3 is making our character act, which is giving it expressions. Now, the best way to learn to draw expressions is to enact them and watch yourself in the mirror and try to draw them. Doing this workshop on Zoom is very easy because I can see myself and I can just act the expressions out and draw them. So I'm going to show you how to draw some quick basic expressions on this dolphin character. So what I need you to do is first draw some very quick dolphin heads, all right? 5 of them. Okay. The simplest expression is a happy expression, which we all have probably drawn at one point of our lives. So what happens when your face is happy is that your eyebrows go up, all right? And they form somewhat of an A shape, a curved A shape. So we're going to draw that shape here on the dolphin and complete the expression with the eyes and give it a nice broad smile. Right? The opposite of happy is sad. And what happens when you're sad is that your eyes again form an A shape, but something like this. Your eyebrows, sorry. Something like this, all right? They curve inwards and upwards. So we draw that shape here and draw the eyes around it. And of course, even the mouth of the dolphin will turn opposite of the previous expression, which is this way. Similarly, we can have several different expressions, and you just need to enact them, and whatever you can enact, you can create you can reproduce on your character. So for example, an angry expression, when our eyes are angry, our eyebrows assume a V shape, like this. So we draw a V shape and then we draw the eyes around it. And of course, a lot of other changes in our face show when we are angry, like our teeth are always clenched. So this is how I'm going to draw clenched teeth on my dolphin. Then we could have various other expressions like maybe a suspicious dolphin, where we get to play around with eyes and eyebrows. And of course, take the assistance of one of the hands or the flippers, right? And if you're too bored drawing with me on this workshop, you are probably going to look something like this. I hope none of you is looking like this right now. So that was creating expressions on our character. I'm just going to hold the screen for a while so that you've all drawn with me and nobody's left out.
Rohan, there's an interesting question that somebody has asked, that how do you incorporate scientific features of an animal while making cartoon characters?
Oh, well, that comes with a lot of reading and doing some homework before you draw the animal, like understanding it and reading some information about the anatomy, about the biology of the animal. So usually what I do before I go about drawing a creature that I haven't seen, like the bottlenose dolphin isn't something I've seen. I've only seen one species of dolphin, which looks a little similar, but every creature is very different in their behavior. So what I do is watch a lot of video footage and even try to read about it as much as possible. So the dolphin is one such creature which is very well documented in cinema and documentaries. So it's a very relatively easy animal to study for an artist. So it comes with a lot of homework and doing your own research.
Definitely, research is important in whichever field you're in.
All right, to move on from step 3 to step 4, which is making your character's body act. All this while we were making the face act, but it's not just the face that shows the effects of a particular expression. When you're happy or when you're sad, it is your entire body that acts or that responds to a particular emotion. So as a cartoonist, when you are trying to make the body of your cartoon character act, it is done along something that is called the line of action. What is a line of action? It could either be an arc or a line or an angle, all right, along which you are going to compose the body of your character. So how do these lines work? For example, if I'm happy, if my character is happy, naturally it will assume a sort of a curve in which the back is arching. Okay. And I'm going to use the same rules I used when I was creating the character to create it along this line of action instead of the X and Y axis. So my oval shape will take the shape of this curve. Now remember the happy expression, the eyebrows going upwards. The mouth opening with the smile, and certain other changes in the body. For example, even the flippers pointing upwards like this, just to enhance your expression, right? I was looking like this listening to Dr. Goodall earlier. Now, similarly, it's as you may have guessed, when we are drawing a sad character, even the line gets reversed. All right. So we use this line for the happy gesture. We are going to use exactly the opposite of that for a sad gesture and create our character along this curve. I'm sure all of you remember the sad eyebrows. Now I'm going to close these eyelids half like this, just to enhance my expression and give it a big frown. This is probably what dolphins look like when they see all the litter we are discharging into the sea. And now the whole body is going to droop and not just the face. So the flippers droop, Even the tail fin droops. Here you can see it's going up, right? Along with the rest of the character. Here it's drooping. And even the fin at the back will droop. So these are some additional features cartoonists use to enhance a given expression or a given emotion in the character. Similarly, if you want to draw a very angry dolphin, now negative emotions like anger come out best when we use sharp angles, all right? So instead of the curve, I'm going to use an angle. And even the shape of my character is going to follow this angle like this. The angry expression was a V shape, if you remember. Right? Teeth clenched. It's not just the teeth that get clenched, even the fists get clenched. So although dolphins do not have fists, we as cartoonists take a lot of creative liberty and give them fists to benefit our purpose. And show some character in the tail as well. So that definitely looks like an angry dolphin. So that was about creating gestures or making the body of your character act. I'm just going to hold the screen so that you all have followed and are not left behind.
While we are waiting, Rohan,
yes.
People are asking what software you're currently using or using.
Photoshop. This is Adobe Photoshop. I use it most commonly for all my published work.
Okay. And some people are also asking the link that you mentioned in the beginning to help them.
Yes, I will. Should I just post it on the chat window?
Yeah, that would be lovely. Yeah.
Okay, great. Just hold on. Chetna, should I post it on the Q&A window or the chat?
Anywhere, Rohan, that would be fine. You can leave it at the Q&A as well.
Oops. Q&A, all right. Okay, I'm just going to
or just
sorry, it's for some reason it's blocked. I can't type on the Q&A.
Okay, that is fine. If you can just
I'm just trying to open the chat window for myself.
yes, Ashish, can you help us in that? I'm sorry, I'm just asking my colleague to help me in that.
Sorry, this is my first Zoom. Please forgive my...
No worries, no worries. You can continue your session and we will post the link very soon.
Okay, sure. I don't know, for some reason my chat windows aren't opening at all. So
we might have disabled it. Don't worry. Yeah. You please continue.
I think I got the chat window here. Oh. The link I've just posted.
Okay, great.
Sorry, I think Chetna, it went privately to you.
That's okay. I will repost it.
No, got it. I got it. Yeah,
great.
There it is. Okay. Okay, so that was about creating characters and making them emote, making them act, making their bodies act. Let's move on to the next step. This is something you need not draw because we are a bit strapped for time. This is just a little mathematics that you need to know before you go on to creating your own cartoon. You all must have heard of the rule of thirds in photography. Now, this is a rule that applies to various art forms, all kinds of art forms, in fact. And what the rule of thirds suggests is that, I'll just write it down for you, rule of thirds is what I mean. What this rule suggests is that the main center of focus of your image, of whatever image you're drawing, whatever portrait or landscape you're drawing, should not be bang in the center of your frame. Okay, this is a common mistake we make when composing our pictures, even when we take photographs, is that, you know, the main object of our focus, we tend to place it bang in the center of the frame. This should not happen in a good image. So how do we place it? So we divide our frame into 9 grids, like this. How many grids are these? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And there are 4 points of intersection between these grids. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what this rule suggests is that your object of focus, your main character or your main center of interest of the image should be along either of these points. Okay, for example, it could be here, it could be here, or it could also be only on one of these points of intersection, while the rest of your frame is filled with other kinds of background elements. All right. So this is something we need to remember before creating any kind of image, before drawing any kind of a painting or a cartoon or even taking a picture. Of course, there are many exceptions to this rule, but this is a basic rule of composition which makes our pictures and our artwork look a lot better than simply placing our object of focus bang in the center of the frame. So using this rule now, I'm going to create a cartoon on marine litter using my dolphin character from scratch. Okay. And I'd just like you to watch me first. And then after I'm done, I want you to attempt to draw a cartoon of your own idea. Using the character we've been drawing so far, I want you to convey the issue of marine litter using your own cartoon, and then later send it across to me, Chetna, Amreen, for review. All right, so I'm going to draw a cartoon in which there are 2 panels. All right, it's a comic strip with 2 panels. So this is going to be my first panel, and this my second. And I'm using 2 characters. One is the dolphin that we've been drawing, and the other is a jellyfish. Okay. So panel 1, I'm just going to do some rough divisions of grids here, just so that you can get a better idea of how I'm composing this image. All right. So my dolphin is going to be placed somewhere here and my jellyfish here. Okay. Now I'm going to draw over these lines. Please keep your lines as rough as possible. You need not worry about everything looking professional at this stage. We are only learning, and every cartoon that I still make comes with, you know, almost 8 to 10 rough drafts. So that's my dolphin, and that's my jellyfish. So I spoke about medical litter, right, as an emerging problem. And that's what I'm going to draw about in this cartoon. we can see worried expressions on both our characters, and the rest of the frame is empty. And there's a reason for that. It's because I want it to be filled with background elements like masks, gloves, right? More masks, more gloves. What other litter can we think of? Of course, no ocean is complete these days without plastic bottles and cans, right? And the idea is to fill whatever negative space we have in our frame with all this junk. So I'm going to draw some more cans, bottles, etc. And this space I'm going to use for my dialogue. Okay. So that's my first frame. I'm just going to remove the grids now so that you can see it better. What's missing is the sea. So I'm just going to add some lines to convey that our characters are in the middle of the sea. Coming to my second frame. Now, usually it's in the last frame of a comic strip where the joke is, all right? That's not a general rule, but usually it so happens that it's in the end frame that the punchline is delivered, that the joke is delivered. So this frame is going to be my punchline. That's the axis for my dolphin. Why is he looking so happy? That's because the jellyfish has become its mask. All right. But never try this. Actually, if you go to the beach or take a dip in the sea, please don't ever use a jellyfish as a mask because he's going to give you a really bad sting. And we just fill up the rest of the frame with the usual junk. Some gloves. More masks. And the dialogue. Right, so that is how we do a cartoon, right? From the first step, warming up, to creating your characters, learning how to act yourself, then trying to express those emotions on your character, making the character's body act, learning how to frame your characters and background elements within a cartoon frame, and then writing and drawing your own panel cartoon. There's still one very important step that is missing from here, which is to sign your work It's an era of rampant plagiarism, and a lot of people can steal your work online. So please don't forget to add a signature to whatever you're drawing. So that's the gist of wildlife cartooning. This is what I do for a living, and I hope you've enjoyed going through it, and I hope you may have found a sort of a medium to express your ideas, your jokes better, because the more visual they are, the more impact they make on the mind of your reader.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rohan. Just
Thanks,
one
Srishti.
more thing. People have been asking about your inspiration. Can you just quickly talk about it? What's your inspiration behind cartooning?
Hold on.
Many
So
people
should I stop sharing my screen now?
Yeah. Please,
Okay,
please.
great. All right. Yeah, so I was studying to be a dentist, and I visited a tiger reserve long back, and that was the first time I saw my first tigress in the wild, and that moment made me realize that I could do something better with my life, and because I was already cartooning, why not combine cartooning with wildlife and see what comes out of it? Because back when I started, there wasn't much creative communication happening around wildlife and conservation. So after meeting the tigress, I decided to experiment with wildlife cartooning, and eventually my series Green Humour was born.
Thank
Tiger
you.
remains.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Rohan, for sharing
Thank
all
you.
those intricate details about cartooning. And it was such an amazing and fun-filled session. I'm sure
Thanks, guys.
everyone here would have enjoyed virtual cartooning time with you.
Right.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Srishti. Thanks, Chetna.
Yeah. Thank you. So now we have come towards the end of the summit, and now we would request, last but not the least, Ms. Gayatri Dagwa, Environment Education Consultant at UNEP India, to present a vote of thanks. Ma'am, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Srishti, and thank you, Chetna. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Now, I have one word, wow. Was that a virtual summit or a real one? I mean, I was feeling sad that we were going to have this huge, big, humongous summit, physical summit at the Ambedkar Stadium in Delhi, and we couldn't have that, so we had to settle down on the virtual summit. But you know what? It did turn out pretty good, as far as I think. First, I would like to start with Rohan. Rohan, you've made an artist out of me. That was a wonderful session, and my heart... All right, you can see me now. Rohan, you've all made an artist out of me. Really, I never knew how to draw, but now you've taught me how to draw. That was a wonderful session, Rohan, and many, many, many thanks to you. So many of the people enjoyed. I even saw that I think your part was some of their favorite parts as well. And my deep, heartfelt thanks and gratitude to Dr. Goodall, Mirza, Sonika, Ricky Cage, and I would be remiss if I don't thank the most important people who made this all put together, who put this all together, which is Srishti, Ashish, Amreen, Deepika, Madhavi. I love you. I love you all, really. You guys have done an amazing, amazing job. And I know all that hard work for the past 10 days. I don't even know. I could hear your kids crying at the back, but you people did an amazing. I don't even know that if people realize what it takes to do this. And I'm sure all the tight turners there should, I wish they can applaud for you, but I really think if anyone deserves an applause, it's all you guys. You haven't slept for days. Thank you so very much. And thank you to all those people who are backstage, whether from CEE, WWF, and my whole team from Nairobi as well. All of you, a big shout to all the people at Nairobi as well. Million Sparks Foundation, you did great. I am so, so honored to know you all and have worked with you all. But before I say goodbye to you, I just have one small thing. I promise I won't take up more time. Can I show that slide that I was talking, Chetna?
Sure.
Right. Now, for all of those of you are, UN has turned 75. Can you believe it? But how old am I? 63. So not bad, only 12 years older than me, but UN is 75. It's the biggest. So we are planning to have a biggest global conversation now at when we are 75 now. And this is your time. We want to build a better world. You're all climate action generation, the innovation generation, the generation of connectivity and equality. And I mean all of you youths. That is why at UN, we are reaching out to you. Really, really. This is my heartfelt, request to you. Please unite for hope. And this is a campaign that we are doing it. How can you unite for hope? It's very easy. Just you need to take a 1-minute quiz at the UN 75 survey. I'm sure you're all able to see the URL below. Can you? I hope you can. So if you can see the URL below, the online survey below, you can say what your views are, what are your concerns, what are your ideas, how do you want the world to be a better place? And believe me, all of you, your actions, your concerns, your ideas will be counted. And this is my promise to you. I never make a false promise, right? So I'm telling you, all your thoughts will be counted. So please write and please take the survey. Don't forget it. And I'm going to look out for you. And all your surveys will be presented at the UN General Assembly in September 2020. And I'm really, really hoping for a longer journey with you. And thank you so much. Thank you, all of you. Thank you. I love you all. Really, I love you all. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. And thank you to all the participants, guests, and speakers for being with us for the summit. Chetna, over to you.
Thank you, everyone. This is the final part where we say thank you to all of you. And it's been a long day, but it was a very, very inspiring and motivating day. We had some amazing speakers with us today, from Dr. Goodall to Dia Mirza to Sonika. Thank you all, and obviously Rohan. So thank you all for joining us. Please do take the UN 75 survey, and see you very soon for the next phase of Tide Turner Challenge.
And don't forget to look out for Roots and Shoots. Join Jane Goodall in her actions. India has its own Roots and Shoots now. So let's hunt for our langurs here.
Yeah. Okay then. Bye everyone.
Bye.
Stay home and stay safe. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.